Chapter 45-53. Hearing Yu-Mo High Lord begging for mercy, Lin Feng stopped. As a quasi-true immortal, Yu-Mo High Lord had hopes of entering the true immortal realm in the future. Of course, the most important thing was that Yu-Mo High Lord was the owner of the ancient city of Yu-Mo. He had many experts under his command, and now that Lin Feng had come to the undying realm, he was alone. He indeed needed to establish his own power. Lin Feng already had a preliminary plan in his mind. For example, he would use the Sin domain as his base. Then, to establish his own power, it was just that Lin Feng had no idea where to start. However, since Yu-Mo High Lord took the initiative to beg for mercy, it reminded Lin Feng. Perhaps he could spare Yu-Mo Supremacy's life and let Yu-Mo Supremacy secretly recruit troops. When Lin Feng was in the mortal world, he had already established many influential groups. Lin Feng was very clear. The rise of a new force would definitely be suppressed by many old forces, and the situation in the Sin domain was even more complicated. The Sin domain was guarded by the Sacred Legion, which was the cultivator army under the Sacred Heavenly King. If he wanted to establish a huge force in the Sin domain, the Sacred Heavenly King would definitely interfere. At that time, he would have to fight a decisive battle with the Sacred Heavenly King. As one of the most trusted generals of the Heavenly Emperor, the Sacred Heavenly King was a true immortal realm cultivator. It was definitely not an easy task to deal with this person. Lin Feng was also very clear about this point. So, at this stage, even if he wanted to establish his own power, Lin Feng needed to hide behind the scenes. Only when his wings were fully grown could he walk to the front stage. Yu-Mo High Lord was a veteran powerhouse in the Sin domain, a powerful rogue cultivator. Therefore, Lin Feng pushing him to the front stage would not arouse too much suspicion. After thinking about it, Lin Feng felt that he could indeed spare Yu-Mo High Lord's life. He used to be an unpardonable evil person. Then he would lead him to good. This was also better than building a 7-storied pagoda. Lin Feng said, "On account of the heavens' benevolence, I will spare your life today. Now, you can make an oath." Hearing this, Yu-Mo High Lord could finally heave a sigh of relief. Of course he didn't want to die. Being alive was better than being dead. And Lin Feng's words let Emperor Yu Fiend know that his life was considered saved. To High Lord Yu-Mo, this was naturally the most important matter. Was there anything more important than preserving his life? I, High Lord Yu-Mo, swear on my soul that from now on, I will pledge my life to young Master Lin Feng. If I violate this oath, my soul will shatter and I will die a horrible death. High Lord Yu-Mo swore. In an instant, Lin Feng felt that an extremely wondrous connection was produced between himself and Yu Fiend Exalt. This kind of connection was formed by an oath. If Yu Demon Exalt dared to have thoughts of betraying him, Lin Feng would immediately be able to sense it. As for Yu Demon Exalt, an oath rune had formed in his mind. When Lin Feng activated the oath rune, he could easily eliminate Yu Demon Exalt. Lin Feng removed the restriction on Yu Demon Exalt. Subduing a cultivator who had the strength of the quasi-true immortal layer as a subordinate was a great reward for Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at Yu Demon Exalt and asked, "How much power do you have in your hands?" Yu Demon Exalt said, "Reporting to young master, this subordinate has a total of 3 heavenly immortals, 15 earthly immortals, 42 human immortals, and 131 loose immortals. In addition, there are more than 3,000 emperors." Lin Feng was shocked. There are actually so many experts? Back in the mortal world, great emperors were considered top-notch experts. So when he heard that Yu Demon Exalt had so many experts under him, Lin Feng was shocked. Yu-Mo knew that Lin Feng was from the mortal world, but he didn't care. He explained, "Young master, there is something you don't know. Our undying realm is different from the mortal world. Actually, there are many experts in the mortal world, especially now. Many self-proclaimed experts have broken out of their seals. After the great changes in the world, many people's cultivation soared at lightning speed. They encountered many fortuitous encounters and broke through extremely quickly. But how is the mortal world constructed? It's made up of the 3,000 great worlds, countless medium worlds, small worlds, and planets with life. Although some of the great worlds have been destroyed, there are still many great worlds in the starry sky world. Many large worlds, medium worlds, small worlds, or planets with life will more or less have some experts. The small number ranges from a few to a few hundred to 1,000, or even more. And so many experts from large worlds, medium worlds, small worlds, and planets with life will come to our undying realm from all directions of the starry sky world. Because the undying realm is the holy land for cultivation, there are actually many experts in the mortal world, but they are very scattered. Thus, we feel that it's not easy to see experts in the mortal world, but in reality, that's not the case. As the experts of the mortal world gather in the undying realm gives people the feeling that there are as many experts as there are clouds. In fact, this feeling is correct, because the undying realm has gathered the peak experts of the mortal world. In these years, as more and more experts gather in the undying realm, the strength of the various large forces is increasing. Thus, although the number of experts recruited by this subordinate seems to be large, when compared to the experts recruited by those top forces, the difference is immediately obvious. After hearing Yu Demon Exalt's explanation, Lin Feng nodded. It was indeed as Yu Demon Exalt had said. The mortal world and the undying realm were different. In the mortal world, great emperors were all experts, so why would there be such a feeling? The main reason was that in such a large world, among the countless cultivators, only a few could reach this realm. Great emperors were naturally experts sought after by countless people. However, it was a different scene in the undying realm. Cultivators from all over the universe gathered in the undying realm. What did great emperors count for? What did pseudo-immortals count for? True immortals were the peak forces of the undying realm. Recruit soldiers at all costs. Can you do it? Lin Feng looked at Yu Demon Exalt and asked. This subordinate will definitely not disappoint young master, Yu Demon Exalt said. Then, Yu Demon Exalt continued, young master's identity is a little sensitive, but it's also a guarantee for young master to display his strength. Oh? What do you mean? Lin Feng asked. High Lord Yu Demon said, some time ago, young noble manifested his bloodline in the extreme north. Above Sin Domain, a sinner's blood emperor condensed. This means that young noble is the one chosen by the heavens. In Sin Domain, there are still some experts of the sinner's bloodline hidden. These experts include some ancient existences, but they won't come out so easily. If young noble can display his strength in Sin Domain, maybe those hibernating sinners' bloodline will come out one after another and join young noble. At that time, young noble will be able to carve out his own territory and conquer the world. Chapter 45-54. One had to admit that High Lord Umo was worthy of being called a hegemon. His vision was quite accurate. It was indeed as High Lord Umo had said. If he could plan it well, he might be able to establish his own faction in Sin Realm and fight for supremacy. This was the same as Lin Feng's idea. Lin Feng looked at High Lord Umo and asked, what do you think I should do next? High Lord Umo said, there aren't any top factions in Sin Realm because the Sacred Legion has suppressed Sin Realm too much. They don't allow any top factions to appear. However, there are many wandering cultivators in Sin Realm. Among them, the 10 great wandering cultivators are the strongest. I'm one of the top 10 individual cultivators. I'm sure young master knows this. The top 10 individual cultivators have many experts under their command. If the top 10 individual cultivators are scattered, it doesn't seem to be a big deal. However, if the top 10 individual cultivators gather and form a force, it will be an extremely terrifying force. That's true. Lin Feng nodded. But then he raised his brows and said, the 10 great wandering cultivators are so strong, but they're willing to become wandering cultivators. They clearly don't want to be the vassals of others. They want to be the overlords of their own territories. Recruiting them is easier said than done. High Lord Umo said, it's indeed a troublesome matter. If we provoke them, they won't agree to it. However, the world is bustling with activity, and everyone is here for profit. If the profit is big enough, there's still a possibility that others will join us. However, this method won't be able to recruit everyone. If we can't recruit everyone, then the news will definitely leak out. If the Sacred Legion finds out, it'll be a disaster for us. The Sacred Legion will think of ways to eradicate us before we do anything big. Therefore, we must take down the other 9 Supremes in one fell swoop and completely seal off the news. Then, there are 2 ways to do that. The first is to defeat them one by one. This method is the simplest method, but it won't be easy to implement because there are a few experts who are extremely cautious. If we go to their residence to deal with them, they must have a lot of experts around them. Moreover, it will be very difficult to find a reason to make them dismiss their experts. Therefore, this method won't work. Since the first method doesn't work, then I can only use the second method, which is to catch them all in one fell swoop. When the time comes, we'll suppress all of them. If they agree to recognize you as their master, then that's good. If they don't, then we'll just kill them. I'm sure that in the face of life and death, those cultivators who are already having a hard time will change their minds, unless they don't want to live anymore. After hearing High Lord Yumo's reasoning, Lin Feng discovered that High Lord Yumo had quite the potential to be a doghead strategist. Evil devil cultivators were skilled in scheming, and High Lord Yumo was clearly the same. Lin Feng asked, "What are the other 9 loose cultivators' strengths?" "You demon High Lord said, the other 9 loose cultivators are all quasi-true immortals." Lin Feng said, 9 quasi-true immortals, it won't be easy to deal with them. Of course, when Lin Feng said it wouldn't be easy, he was referring to suppressing all of them and not leaking any information. In truth, Lin Feng could set up a formation to trap them, but he couldn't guarantee that experts of their level would have some hidden trump cards. At that time, they might break the formation and leave. If that was the case, the news would be leaked. When the Sacred Army attacked, Lin Feng's wings weren't fully developed yet, so there was no way he could contend against them. To put it bluntly, he still wasn't strong enough. If Lin Feng's strength was enough to suppress the 9 quasi-true immortals, this plan wouldn't be a problem at all. However, he still couldn't suppress them. High Lord Yumo frowned as he pondered. He already had an idea, but the biggest problem was how to suppress the 9 quasi-true immortals. "How about I call my first wife, the Red World Fairy, over?" Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. Of course, in front of the Red World Fairy, Lin Feng didn't dare to use the term first wife to address the Red World Fairy. Who knew if the Red World Fairy would slap Lin Feng to death in anger? However, in Lin Feng's heart, he had already set a goal for himself. That was, sooner or later, he would conquer the Red World Fairy. Thinking about the feeling of conquering such a powerful woman like the Red World Fairy, Lin Feng felt his blood boil. Lin Feng felt that at this stage, he might really be able to find a way to find the Red World Fairy. It was just that he didn't know where the Red World Fairy was right now. However, Lin Feng had a strange feeling. He felt that the Red World Fairy seemed to be in the Sin domain. As for why he had such a feeling, Lin Feng didn't know. In truth, the reason why Lin Feng had such a feeling was because of the emotional entanglement between Lin Feng and the Red World Fairy back then. Although the Red World Fairy had severed their relationship, Lin Feng and the Red World Fairy's fates were intertwined. Thus, when the 2 of them were within a certain range, they would have a special feeling. They could faintly sense each other's existence. Lin Feng felt that it was very strange. However, Lin Feng didn't know that there were some things hidden within. "Help me spread a piece of news. Say that an old friend is looking for the Red World Fairy." Lin Feng looked at High Lord Yumo and said, although High Lord Yumo didn't know who the Red World Fairy was, since Lin Feng wanted to find the Red World Fairy, perhaps the Red World Fairy was a very important person to Lin Feng. Thus, High Lord Yumo agreed. High Lord Yumo asked, "Young master, do you still need to tell the Red World Fairy where to find this old friend?" Lin Feng didn't say who was looking for the Red World Fairy. Thus, High Lord Yumo didn't say anything either. Lin Feng said, "No need. If she really wants to find this old friend of hers, she'll definitely be able to find him." The Red World Fairy's figure appeared in Lin Feng's mind. What was she doing? Lin Feng said, "All right, we should leave. If there's anything, I'll contact you." Understood, High Lord Yumo said. He then personally escorted Lin Feng and the demiurge flawed 4 monsters outside. When he came outside, he saw the pair of delicate and beautiful twin sisters. At this moment, the beautiful twin sisters were waiting for Lin Feng outside. Brothers, have you completed today's mission? Your character support is currently ranked 8th. If you work harder, can you reach 7th? This is the 4th update. There's still 3 more. Old Mantu has to continue writing. Chapter 45-55. Big Brother, thank you for saving us. After seeing Lin Feng come out, the two sisters quickly thanked Lin Feng. This was a pair of beautiful and moving sisters, but their fate was also very tragic. In this world, there were too many things that made people feel unjust and sad. Most of the time, people could only sigh. There was nothing they could do. Therefore, Lin Feng would still help when it was within his power, such as saving the sisters. Little girl, why are you only thanking Brother Lin and not us 4 handsome men? The demiurge flawed for eccentrics said in unison. The 4 of them were feeling pretty good about themselves, but their words made the tense atmosphere around them a lot more relaxed. However, the people around them kept slandering them. How dare you call yourselves the 4 handsome men? Shameless people are invincible in this world. Of course, no one dared to tell this to the demiurge flawed for eccentrics. If they dared to say such nonsense in front of them, they would have their bones broken by the demiurge flawed for eccentrics. Thank you, big brothers, for saving us. The two sisters thanked the demiurge flawed for eccentrics. The two sisters originally wanted to thank the 4 uncles for saving their lives, but they realized that the 4 of them were calling this handsome big brother Brother Lin. Therefore, the two sisters changed the way they addressed the 4 of them. Hee, no need to thank us. No need to thank us. The 4 of us are not only handsome, but also helpful. That was just a small matter. The demiurge flawed for eccentrics opened their mouths and said in unison. The 4 of them had quite a tacit understanding. Lin Feng looked at the 2 girls and said, "Do you have any relatives? I will send you to your relatives." The 2 girls shed tears at this point. One of them said, "Young master, our relatives are all dead. Please take us in. We are very diligent and can do anything. We will definitely serve you well." Another one said, "Please take us in, young master. We are willing to be your cows and horses." Lin Feng couldn't help but slightly frown. He originally wanted to send the 2 girls to their relatives. However, seeing that their relatives were already dead and looking so pitiful, he couldn't help but feel upset. "Brother Lin, these 2 little sisters are much prettier than Hua Lingxian. Why don't you accept them and let them be your first and second wives? What do you think?" Amputated Heaven grinned. Hearing this, the beautiful faces of the 2 sisters immediately became rosy. Although they were young, many people at their age were already married, so they naturally knew a lot of things. Lin Feng said, "Big brother Tian Kincaid, please don't make such a joke. It will make the 2 little sisters feel embarrassed. How about this? You 2 can stay by my side for now. I will try my best to make arrangements for you too." "Thank you, young master." The 2 sisters thanked him. Then, Lin Feng and the others left. On the way, Lin Feng asked for the sisters' names. The elder sister was called Feng Mingyuan and the younger sister was called Feng Mingxin. This pair of sisters were too similar in appearance. As a result, Lin Feng sometimes mistook them for each other. The 2 sisters were in low spirits. It was obvious that the tragic deaths of their relatives had caused them great grief. At this moment, Tian Sanyu said, "The 2 of you must hate young Master Yao Yi. Let me tell you, we have already avenged you too." The 2 sisters looked at Tian Sanyu in confusion when they heard this. Tian Sanyu chuckled and said, "Anyone who has been taught a lesson by us will die from Qigong deviation within half a year to a year." After hearing Tian Sanyu's words, Lin Feng had a deeper understanding of the 4 demiurge flawed freaks. Although the 4 demiurge flawed freaks seemed retarded, they were extremely ruthless at times. For example, it was obvious that the 4 demiurge flawed freaks had secretly done something to teach young Master Yao Yi a lesson. Therefore, that was why young Master Yao Yi died from qi deviation sometime between half a year to a year later. By doing this, they were able to eliminate the source of the problem. "Thank you, big brothers, for helping us kill that beast, young Master Yao Yi." The 2 sisters thanked the 4 demiurge flawed freaks. "We are chivalrous warriors who uphold justice. It is only natural for us to do such a thing." The 4 demiurge flawed freaks spoke with a righteous expression. In fact, if the 4 of them accepted someone, they would treat the other party extremely well. For example, it was the same for Lin Feng. Young Master Yao Yi deserved to die. Lin Feng naturally felt that the four demiurge flawed freaks did the right thing. Now that this fellow was dead, there would be one less scourge in the world. Supremacy UMO still had a few sons, and Lin Feng hoped that the other sons of Supremacy UMO would learn well. Lin Feng, the four demiurge flawed freaks, Fang Mingyuan, and Fang Mingxin returned to the Xia family village. He took out young Master Yuan Shan's head. Then, he placed it in front of the graves of the village chief and the others. The villagers all came out. Everyone knelt in front of the graves to pay their respects to the dead. Lin Feng asked Xia Zhongjuan to arrange a place for Fang Mingyuan and Fang Mingxin to stay. When the Snow Lady saw Lin Feng return with a pair of beautiful sisters, she felt uncomfortable in her heart. Hence, she couldn't help but be a lot colder towards Lin Feng. She didn't even take the initiative to talk to Lin Feng. Lin Feng naturally noticed the change in the Snow Lady's mood. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Could it be that the Snow Lady is jealous? If the Snow Lady is jealous, it means that the Snow Lady is interested in me? With that thought, Lin Feng felt a little happy. Lin Feng liked beautiful women. After interacting with the Snow Lady for a period of time, he realized that the Snow Lady was actually cold on the outside but warm on the inside. All these years, she basically didn't interact with outsiders, but in reality, the Snow Lady was very kind in her heart. However, so many people wanted to kill the Snow Lady and seize the Snow Spirit Bone Fire, but the external environment forced the Snow Lady to resist. She had no choice but to kill, because she wanted to live on. And the Snow Lady also needed the care of others. Night fell. The Snow Lady sat alone on a smooth boulder at the peak of a mountain not far from the Xia family village. She rested her chin on her hand and looked into the distance. No one knew what she was looking at. Lin Feng walked over and sat beside the Snow Lady. Then, he asked, "What are you looking at?" The Snow Lady turned to look at Lin Feng. She blinked her long eyelashes and then turned her head to the side. Just like before, she ignored Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. The Snow Lady seemed to have really lost her temper. This was the first time Lin Feng had seen the Snow Lady lose her temper. However, the Snow Lady's temper was like that of many women in love. She chose to ignore the other party. Lin Feng didn't think she was cold and emotionless anymore. She was much cuter than before. Lin Feng didn't think she was cold anymore. Lin Feng didn't think she was cold anymore. She was much cuter than before. Chapter 45-56. Lin Feng looked at Xuanu and said, "Those two sisters' relatives were killed. I felt sorry for them, so I saved them. Initially, I wanted to send them to their relatives, but they didn't have any relatives, so I had no choice but to bring them here," said Xuanu. "Why are you explaining all this to me?" "You don't have to explain it to me," the Snow Lady said. Although she said that, the Snow Lady was very happy to hear Lin Feng's explanation. Although the Snow Lady knew that many women liked a man as outstanding as Lin Feng, she couldn't help but feel jealous. Lin Feng said, "Because I'm afraid that you'll misunderstand. I'm not anyone to you. Why are you afraid that I'll misunderstand?" "I won't misunderstand," the Snow Lady couldn't help but say. Lin Feng said, "Of course I'm afraid that you'll misunderstand. That's because you hold a different place in my heart," Lin Feng said as he reached out and grabbed the Snow Lady's hand. "What are you doing? Let go of me. Otherwise, I won't go easy on you." The Snow Lady's face instantly turned red. Then, she struggled gently. Lin Feng said, "Nothing. I just want to hold your hand like this. I think it'll feel good. If you don't want me to hold on to you, I can let go of you." The Snow Lady's lips trembled. She wanted to say, "I don't want to." However, it was as if she was possessed. The Snow Lady swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. The Snow Lady didn't say anything. Clearly, she agreed with Lin Feng's actions. Lin Feng was delighted. Indeed, if a man wanted to pick up a girl, he had to be bold, careful, and thick-skinned. Or else, what makes you think you can get a girl? Lin Feng asked. "We've known each other for a long time, and we've been through many things together. I'm sure you know a lot about my background and my clan, but I don't know anything about you. I know there are some things you don't want to talk about, but there are some things we have to face in life." I'm willing to listen to your stories and share your worries. Can you tell me everything? The Snow Lady struggled out of Lin Feng's grasp and stood up. There are some things that you're better off not knowing. It won't do you any good. I'm planning to leave. If we're fated to meet again in the future, perhaps we'll meet again, the Snow Maiden said. Although the Snow Lady couldn't bear to leave now, she knew that Lin Feng wanted to find out about her past. The Snow Lady was scared. She didn't want to drag Lin Feng into this because it was extremely dangerous for Lin Feng. Now, it was enough for her to bear this danger alone. There was no need to drag Lin Feng into this. Lin Feng realized the severity of the situation. It seemed like the things that had happened all those years ago had affected the Snow Lady greatly, and she was extremely terrified. That was why the Snow Lady wanted to leave. In fact, she wanted to hide. Lin Feng knew that if the Snow Lady left, perhaps they wouldn't meet again. The Snow Lady would become the same as before. She would be alone. She would be all alone. She might even become the target of many cultivators. She would struggle to survive alone in this world until the day she died at the hands of those cultivators. Or she would be found by her enemies. Or she would fall into their hands. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel his heart ache when he thought about the situation the Snow Lady was about to face. How could he let the Snow Lady face such a situation alone? Lin Feng would never allow such a thing to happen. As the Snow Lady was about to leave, Lin Feng grabbed her hand and pulled her into his embrace. The Snow Lady looked at him in disbelief. He kissed her red lips. The Snow Maiden's mind instantly went blank. Slowly, bit by bit, when the Snow Lady regained her senses, she pushed Lin Feng away. She looked at Lin Feng furiously and said, "Lin Feng, you're too presumptuous. Do you think I don't dare to kill you? Do you believe that I won't kill you right now?" Lin Feng said, "How can you bear to do it? Now, as your man, I command you to tell you everything that happened in the past. You're not allowed to say no." The Snow Lady's face turned so red that it looked like blood was about to drip out when she heard Lin Feng's words. She had never thought that this would happen. However, everything that happened today was too unexpected. Her heart was still beating extremely fast. The Snow Lady wanted to make herself cold, but she realized that she couldn't maintain that cold aura in front of Lin Feng. After all, her first kiss was taken by Lin Feng. For a conservative world, for a woman, this was a huge matter. The Snow Lady was a conservative woman in this conservative world. She sighed and said, "Why do you have to force me like this?" Lin Feng said, "When did I force you? I just want to know everything about you." The Snow Lady lifted her head and looked at Lin Feng. She saw a pair of clear eyes. The Snow Lady liked looking at Lin Feng's eyes. They were very clear. Even though Lin Feng had been through so many things, he was still able to maintain his original heart. This wasn't easy. Perhaps this was what attracted the Snow Lady the most about Lin Feng. "It's very dangerous and scary. I might die. I don't want you to fall into such a dangerous situation," the Snow Lady said in a sorrowful voice. At this moment, she remembered what had happened in the past. To the Snow Lady, the things that had happened in the past were things that she was unwilling to recall for the rest of her life. "Don't be afraid. I'm by your side. I'm willing to give up everything to protect you," Lin Feng said as he grabbed the Snow Lady's hand. The Snow Lady's heart trembled when she heard Lin Feng's words. These words, they deeply touched the Snow Lady's heart. The Snow Lady had been through so many things over the years. She still remembered how she hid in a cave when she was young and trembled, afraid that she would be eaten by powerful beasts. She still remembered how she was surrounded and almost killed by those cultivators time and time again. She still remembered the tragedy that happened when she was young. Everyone was dead. Her grandfather, father, uncles, mother, brother, sister, and so on. They were all dead. She was very afraid. She had no one to rely on. She grew up alone. When she was thirsty, she drank snow water. When she was hungry, she looked for wild fruits and vegetables. However, the place she hid in was covered in snow all year round. Many times, she couldn't find any wild fruits or vegetables. At this time, she dug out tree roots and ate them. Just like that, she slowly grew up alone. Chapter 45-57. Countless nights. The Snow Lady wept alone. Countless nights. The Snow Lady was so scared that she started to tremble. She really wanted to have a hug to lean on, but she never had a hug to lean on. Snow Lady grew up under the shadow of death. She seemed to become stronger and stronger. She wanted to live. She didn't want to die. So, after she slowly became stronger, she began to try to resist when she encountered danger again. But no, she only hid and escaped. Just like that, Snow Lady became stronger and stronger. She also became colder and colder. Snow Lady never thought about it. Most of the time, Snow Lady felt that she had a heart of stone. But today, Snow Lady cried because she felt that someone really cared about her. And that person was standing beside her. He was very handsome. His eyes were very clear. This was a pair of eyes that could make one lose themselves in them. He was so real. He appeared beside her just like that. Snow Lady once thought that she didn't need to rely on anyone after she grew up. But now she realized, no matter how strong a woman was, she needed someone to rely on. But Snow Lady was afraid. She was afraid that she would lose this person one day. Snow Lady looked at Lin Feng. Her face was a little pale. This was because Snow Lady thought of some terrifying things. She thought of some terrifying things that might happen in the future. When that time came, Lin Feng would also be implicated. This was the scene that Snow Lady didn't want to see the most. So, Snow Lady was still hesitating. But at this moment, Lin Feng pulled Snow Lady into his arms. "Let go of me." Snow Lady bit her red lips and said. She was struggling gently. She only struggled a few times, but she couldn't break free from Lin Feng's arms. "I'm not letting go. Tell me everything quickly. If you don't tell me, it means that you don't trust me," Lin Feng said. Snow Lady couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Perhaps she really couldn't resist Lin Feng. Or perhaps it was because she subconsciously didn't want to resist Lin Feng. The Snow Lady's heart was filled with sweetness. She realized that she liked Lin Feng's dominance. "My real name is Meng Qianxue. I am from the Snow Clan. I come from the Snow World. The Snow World is one of the 3,000 macro worlds. It is an extremely beautiful place. My people lived a carefree life in this world until I was 6 years old. At that time, a terrifying cultivator invaded the Snow World and started a bloody massacre. Countless creatures in the Snow World were killed, including my people. They seemed to be looking for something, but I was too young at that time and didn't understand many things. I saw my family members falling into pools of blood one by one. The old servant who took care of me brought me out of the Snow World. Many people chased after us, and later, even the old servant was seriously injured. The old servant brought me along and was lucky enough to avoid the pursuit of those people. After that, we arrived at the Undying World. Not long after we arrived at the Undying World, the old servant died, and I was the only one left. I hid in the world of snow that bordered the northernmost part of Sin Domain and the extreme north. Just like that, day after day passed, until I slowly grew up. Although not many cultivators went there, there were still some cultivators who went there. Some people saw me. Perhaps it was because of my appearance, or perhaps it was because they had other intentions, but they always wanted to catch me. The legend of the Snow Lady gradually spread from that time. Later, when I used the Snow Spirit Bone Fire to ignite the Divine Fire, many people thought that I had the Snow Spirit Bone Fire and wanted to catch me even more. The Snow Lady spoke very slowly. Her voice sounded very calm, but Lin Feng could feel the changes in the Snow Lady's heart. Her body was trembling. Lin Feng had the impression he was looking at a little girl. He was alone. Scenes of surviving in a world of ice and snow. The Snow Lady had experienced countless dangers over the years. She was able to survive. It was really not easy. Lin Feng hugged the Snow Lady tightly. "Don't be afraid. You won't be alone in the future. I will be by your side," Lin Feng said softly. The Snow Lady's face leaned against Lin Feng's chest. Her hands hugged Lin Feng's waist. This feeling of hugging Lin Feng so tightly, it was really very comfortable. Was this the feeling of being protected? If it was possible, she really hoped that this could continue. If this was a dream, she really hoped that she would never wake up from this dream. "Snow Lady, do you know what those people are looking for?" "Who are they?" Lin Feng asked. The Snow Lady said, "I'm not sure. They are very mysterious and very powerful. However, When the old servant died, he gave me something. What is it? Lin Feng asked, puzzled. It's a piece of bronze, the snow lady said. Then, she took out a piece of bronze and handed it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at the piece of bronze. Bronze was a unique product of the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age meant that it was ancient and powerful. The bronze in front of him was branded with countless runes. After seeing those runes, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Those runes were a type that even he didn't recognize. Lin Feng thought that he had a deep understanding of all kinds of runes. However, he couldn't recognize what those runes meant. Back then, when the old servant gave you this item, did he say anything to you? Lin Feng asked. The snow lady said, before the old servant died, he did say something to me. However, I was still young at that time. Coupled with the great changes in my family, I was in a daze. Therefore, I can't remember what he said clearly. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. If that was the case, wouldn't the clues be cut off just like that? Lin Feng frowned slightly. Before the old servant died, he gave this item to the snow lady. Obviously, it was because this item was very important. Could it be that those mysterious people who destroyed the snow world were looking for this piece of bronze? Lin Feng felt that even if the other party's target wasn't this piece of bronze, it must be closely related to this piece of bronze. Lin Feng asked, have you discovered anything special about this piece of bronze all these years? The snow lady shook her head and said, I've been trying to discover the secret of this bronze, but I've come up empty-handed. Lin Feng said, perhaps we need to take this piece of bronze back to the snow world. When the time comes, we might be able to find something. The snow lady sighed. That was the place where her family had died. That was her homeland. However, that place was also the place she was most unwilling to face. Brothers, we've been beaten to 9th place. Let's not give up. Let's charge forward. Chapter 45-58. Lin Feng knew what the snow lady was thinking. No matter who it was, it would be hard for them to get over it. It was the same for the snow lady. However, the snow lady had to walk out of her sorrow. Otherwise, this matter would become her inner demon. If it really became her inner demon, it would be an extremely terrifying thing. Because in the future, in the process of cultivation, perhaps this inner demon would suddenly act up. At that time, if the snow lady wasn't careful, she might die. Of course, this wasn't something that Lin Feng wanted to see. Lin Feng hoped that the snow lady could live on well. He hoped that the snow lady could live on happily. Let the death of her loved ones be a thing of the past. If she wanted to overcome the fear in her heart and even her inner demon, she had to deal with this matter face to face. Therefore, if the snow lady wanted to overcome the fear and inner demon in her heart, she had to go to the snow world personally. Lin Feng rubbed the snow lady's beautiful face and said, I'll accompany you to the snow world. No matter what happens, we will face it together. Moreover, your enemy is also my enemy. I guarantee that I will cut off their heads and offer them to your dead relatives. The snow lady nodded heavily. The feeling of being protected by Lin Feng was simply too good. This feeling made the snow lady have an urge to cry. The snow lady originally thought that her tears had dried up, but only now did she realize that she could still cry. It was all because of this man in front of her. The snow lady didn't even know when she fell in love with this man. In the next few days, the mountain village became very peaceful. Lin Feng planned to continue deciphering the evil corpse ring. At the same time, he planned to enter the 13th level of the Chonglu demonic palace to see what was inside. Lin Feng took out the evil corpse ring first. Now, the runes of the sky-rending hoe, scarlet flame golden swanee, ice-armored horned demon dragon, 8-clawed fire centipede, and 9-winged celestial dragon had been successfully deciphered by Lin Feng. Previously, Lin Feng wanted to decipher the lightning bat dragon's runes, but he didn't succeed. Now that Lin Feng had broken through to the Emperor Lord realm, Lin Feng felt that deciphering the lightning bat dragon rune shouldn't be too difficult. Lin Feng began attempting to decipher the lightning bat dragon runes. This kind of rune was indeed extremely difficult to decipher. However, it was just as Lin Feng had guessed. Although this kind of rune was difficult to decipher, it was not difficult for him. In the end, Lin Feng successfully deciphered the lightning bat dragon beast rune. There were only 3 types of beast runes left in the evil corpse ring. They were the blue-winged sea dragon beast, the sea-cracking mysterious dragon whale, and the Kuei ox beast runes. Lin Feng attempted to decipher the blue-winged sea dragon beast's beast rune. However, Lin Feng did not succeed, which made Lin Feng slightly disappointed. However, Lin Feng had already expected this situation. Lin Feng put away the ring. Then, he entered the Chonlu Devil Palace. There were many good things in the Chonlu Devil Palace. Therefore, every time Lin Feng entered the Chonlu Devil Palace, he would look forward to it. Although some of the things he obtained in the Chonlu Devil Palace were temporarily unusable. However, that did not mean that Lin Feng would not be able to use them in the future. He would need them in the future. When the time came, those things would definitely have heaven-defying effects. Therefore, Lin Feng was looking forward to the good things in the 12th level of the Chonlu Devil Palace. Just as Lin Feng arrived at the 1st level of the Chonlu Devil Palace, the Black Bear Sage appeared in time. Master, you are here. The Black Bear Sage bowed to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Bring me to the 12th level of the Chonlu Devil Palace." In the past, the Black Bear Sage would have directly brought Lin Feng to the 12th level of the Chonlu Devil Palace. However, the Black Bear Sage did not do so today. The Black Bear Sage said, "Master, today, we are going to the 12th level of the Chonlu Devil Palace. It is the last level." "Oh? The last level of the Chonlu Devil Palace?" Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He felt that it was a pity, because this meant, after exploring the 12th level of the Chonlu Devil Palace, the Chonlu Devil Palace would no longer be able to provide Lin Feng with powerful treasures. What a pity, what a pity. However, after thinking about it, he had already obtained many shocking treasures in the Chonlu Devil Palace. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel much better. One should not be too greedy. One should know how to be content. "Bring me to the last level of the Chonlu Devil Palace," Lin Feng said. "Yes, please follow me, Master," the Black Bear Sage said. Swish. In the next moment, a light flashed. Lin Feng and the Black Bear Sage both disappeared and reappeared. The two of them had already arrived at the last level of the Chonlu Devil Palace. This was an independent space. There were mountain ranges and ancient forests. There were rivers and streams. However, this place was very quiet. There were no birds or beasts. There weren't even any bugs. The Black Bear Sage retreated while Lin Feng walked around this space. This independent space was very special. Lin Feng felt that this place was filled with a special energy. It was hard to tell what kind of energy it was. However, since this was the last space, Lin Feng felt that there must be many extraordinary things about this space. Even though Lin Feng didn't know what was so special about that place, he still had a lot to learn. Lin Feng planned to search carefully. Perhaps he would find something? He walked all the way in. Not long later, Lin Feng saw a cultivator appear in the forest. That cultivator walked in front of Lin Feng. He was wearing a black robe. Lin Feng did not see his appearance clearly. Lin Feng did not even know when this cultivator appeared. However, no matter how fast he increased his speed, he was unable to catch up to that cultivator. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Was that existence an imprint here? Or was it a remnant soul? If it was an imprint, whose imprint would it be? If it was a remnant soul, whose remnant soul would it be? Could it be the Chonlu Devil Emperor? However, Lin Feng sensed carefully. He did not sense any soul aura from that existence. Therefore, Lin Feng felt that the possibility of that existence being an imprint was higher. Lin Feng's speed increased again. He tried to see if he could catch up to that existence. However, the situation was still the same as before. Lin Feng was still unable to catch up to that existence. This caused Lin Feng to frown. Just as Lin Feng was about to give up, the existence in front of him actually stopped. Then, he turned to look at Lin Feng. "P.S. Brothers, have you completed today's mission? Can everyone work harder? I really want to cry, but no tears come out. Many people are grinding the rankings. We have real strength. After the event ends, we will definitely be in the top 9. Everyone, work hard." Old Man 2 thanks everyone. Chapter 45-59. Lin Feng also stopped and looked at the cultivator. The cultivator was a middle-aged man, and he gave off a dignified aura. Lin Feng had a strong feeling that this was the imprint of Demon Emperor Chonglu. Are you giving up just like that? The path of cultivation is filled with difficulties and dangers, and any small matter might cause a cultivator to be annihilated. All we cultivators can do is persevere, and only by moving forward with a Tao heart and never giving up would we be able to complete transcendence. The cultivator said. Lin Feng's spirit was slightly lifted. The man was talking to him as if he was a person of flesh and blood standing beside him. What's going on? Lin Feng was puzzled. If it was just an imprint, could it achieve such power? As if he knew what Lin Feng was thinking, the cultivator continued, "This is indeed my imprint, but it's fused with a remnant of my soul. I've been waiting for someone to come here, and now you've finally arrived. You're Senior Demon Emperor Chonglu?" Lin Feng looked at the man and asked. Yes. The man nodded. Lin Feng was shocked. It was really Demon Emperor Chonglu. His temperament was extraordinary, and he was indeed a hero. He was admirable. He was worshipped. Thank you for the treasures you left behind. Senior, Lin Feng expressed his gratitude. Demon Emperor Chonglu said, to be honest, I didn't leave behind much. Fortunately, these things will be of great use to you. I can sense a special power in your bloodline. Does your bloodline contain the power of destiny? Lin Feng found it unbelievable. This was just an imprint and a remnant of his soul, but he could sense the power in his bloodline. Demon Emperor Chonglu must have been a terrifying existence in the past. Lin Feng said, I have the bloodline of destiny. Bloodline of destiny? This is the first time I've heard of such a bloodline. However, this bloodline is called the bloodline of destiny. It seems like it has a lot to do with the Tao of destiny. Perhaps this is where the fate between us lies. Everything has its own cause and effect. Demon Emperor Chonglu looked at Lin Feng in surprise. Lin Feng was puzzled. He felt that Demon Emperor Chonglu was implying something, but Lin Feng did not say much. If it was really as he guessed, then Lin Feng felt that Demon Emperor Chonglu would explain everything to him. At this time, Demon Emperor Chonglu said, Before I fell, I went deep into an extremely dangerous place to look for something. Lin Feng's spirit was slightly lifted. Obviously, Demon Emperor Chonglu was going to say something extremely important. Sure enough, it was as he had guessed. That is an extremely important item. It is condensed from the Great Tao and rarely appears in this world. That thing is called the Water of Destiny. Water of Fate? Lin Feng's eyes widened, and his breathing quickened. The Water of Destiny had the word destiny in it, so it was clearly related to destiny. Lin Feng instantly thought of a possibility. Could the Water of Destiny help him awaken his destiny bloodline on a deeper level? Of the 3 bloodlines Lin Feng had awakened, the Undying bloodline had awakened 4 times. The Sovereign bloodline had awakened twice. As for the Destiny bloodline, it had only awakened once and had yet to undergo a deeper level of awakening. When a bloodline awakened for the first time, a cultivator would gradually be able to use the bloodline. All kinds of bloodlines would begin to display their terrifying might and would need to undergo a deeper level of awakening. The Destiny bloodline was inherited from his father, Lin Baitian. Lin Feng naturally hoped that his Destiny bloodline would undergo a deeper level of awakening. If his Destiny bloodline underwent a deeper level of awakening, Lin Feng felt that he might obtain some unimaginably powerful abilities. This was something that Lin Feng was very much looking forward to seeing. Besides, Lin Feng had a mysterious and unfathomable feeling about his Destiny blood. The main reason was that Lin Feng didn't know much about Destiny bloodlines. Demon Emperor Chonglu said, The Water of Destiny can have a tempering effect on your Destiny bloodline. It should be able to temper your Destiny bloodline to the point of awakening. Lin Feng said, Where is the Water of Destiny? Senior, please bestow the Water of Destiny to me. Demon Emperor Chonglu said, The Water of Destiny is in a pool deep in the mountain range. Hearing this, Lin Feng was overjoyed. He could go there to take a look later. Demon Emperor Chonglu said, The reason why I'm waiting for a fated person is that I want this fated person to do something for me. No matter what it is, I will do my best to help you. Lin Feng said. Demon Emperor Chonglu looked at Lin Feng with gratification and said, Thank you, young friend. Then he continued, here's the thing. Back then, something happened to my daughter's body. After she fell into a deep sleep, I sealed her in Chonglu Demon City. I don't know how she is now. I hope you can go to Chonglu Demon City and wake my daughter up. Of course, no problem. I just don't know where Chonglu Demon City is? Lin Feng asked. It is in the Demon Realm. When you reach the Demon Realm, you can find out the location of Chonglu Demon City by asking around. Demon Emperor Chonglu said. Okay, Lin Feng replied. Then Demon Emperor Chonglu took out an item. It was a bracelet. It was a bracelet formed by a total of 8 crystal beads strung together. If she wakes up, give this to her. Demon Emperor Chonglu said. Demon Emperor Chonglu said. His eyes were filled with longing and sadness. No matter how strong a person was, there would always be something that made them worried or difficult to let go of. Demon Emperor Chonglu was the same. Then, his body began to slowly dissipate. Senior, rest in peace. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He knew that when Demon Emperor Chonglu's body completely dissipated, Demon Emperor Chonglu would completely disappear from this world. Demon Emperor Chonglu's body turned into energy and then dissipated between heaven and earth. Demon Emperor Chonglu dissipated. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. He calmed himself down and walked toward the depths of the mountain range. Not long after, Lin Feng arrived at the depths of the mountain range in front of him. He saw a pool. The energy of heaven and earth was constantly flowing into the pool and being absorbed by the pool. When he arrived here, Lin Feng felt that his destiny bloodline was fluctuating violently. He felt that his destiny bloodline was about to awaken on its own. The water of destiny. The water in the pool must be the water of destiny that Demon Emperor Chonglu had mentioned. P.S. Brothers, don't forget to do missions and push up the points. They are about to fall. I am tired and want to cry. This is the second update. Old Man 2, continue writing. Chapter 4560. This pool of water of destiny should be able to help me undergo a deeper awakening, right? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Seeing so much water of destiny, Lin Feng was actually feeling very happy. Originally, he was worried that there was only a small amount of water of destiny and that it wouldn't be able to help him undergo a bloodline awakening. But now, perhaps his worries were unfounded. Lin Feng had a feeling that the water of destiny should be able to help him undergo a bloodline awakening. Lin Feng took off his clothes. Then, he jumped into the pool. Next, he began to circulate his bloodline of destiny. Very soon, Lin Feng's bloodline of destiny awakened. As the bloodline of destiny began to circulate, the special energy within the pool began to continuously flow into Lin Feng's body. Then, it was absorbed by Lin Feng's body. That special energy should be a type of destiny energy. In reality, any Tao could produce different kinds of energy. For example, the destiny energy produced by the Tao of destiny was actually very different. As the destiny energy within the pool surged into his body, Lin Feng felt his bloodline of destiny begin to circulate faster and faster. Every time his bloodline of destiny began to circulate, it seemed to undergo a transformation. This feeling was simply too comfortable. Time slowly passed. More and more destiny energy began to fuse with Lin Feng's bloodline of destiny. Lin Feng's bloodline of destiny was also constantly changing. It was constantly improving. For Lin Feng, this was an unprecedented feeling of comfort. After an unknown amount of time, a treasured sword condensed within Lin Feng's dantian. That treasured sword was the Sword of Destiny. Lin Feng's bloodline of destiny began to undergo a deeper awakening. Furthermore, a Sword of Destiny had condensed within his dantian. Sword of Destiny. Sever the fetters of destiny. Not bad, not bad. A smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. Then, he flew out of the pool. Then, he put on his clothes. At this moment, the pool had become very ordinary. This was because Lin Feng had absorbed all of the power of destiny. The deeper transformation of the destiny bloodline was extremely important to Lin Feng because he could feel that the power contained within the destiny bloodline had grown even stronger. Although Lin Feng hadn't made any breakthroughs in his cultivation realm, Lin Feng's battle prowess had actually increased greatly after the bloodline awakening. Of course. Furthermore, the formation of the Sword of Fate would be of great help to Lin Feng. Another thing was that Lin Feng had a completely new understanding of the way of destiny as his destiny bloodline awakened at a deeper level. This was also an extremely important point. This was because the Tao of Fate was simply too important to Lin Feng. Lin Feng walked out of the Chonglu Devil Palace. The harvest this time was really too big, making Lin Feng extremely satisfied. Just as Lin Feng came out, he heard an extremely noisy noise coming from outside. He didn't know what was going on outside. Lin Feng quickly walked out and saw many villagers outside. In the center of the village, the brothers Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan were roaring like wild beasts. Their 7 orifices were bleeding non-stop. Even the pores on his body were bleeding. It looked like they were about to go berserk. What's going on? Lin Feng asked with a grave expression. Lin Gongzi is here. Many people were overjoyed when they saw Lin Feng. Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan's situation was too frightening. The others were also helpless. Everyone placed their hopes on Lin Feng. Everyone opened up a path for Lin Feng. Lin Feng walked to a seat closer to the center. They were cultivating earlier. I don't know what happened, but they suddenly became like this. Did something happen during their cultivation? Many people looked at Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan worriedly. Everyone knew how frightening it was to go berserk. Once a cultivator went berserk, it was very likely that they would die suddenly. It wasn't as if no one in the Xia village had gone berserk. The old village chief had died not long ago. If the 2 grandsons of the old village chief were to die as well, many people in the village would feel ashamed of the old village chief. They felt that they had not taken good care of Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan. Lin Feng frowned as he looked at Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan. If they had gone berserk, Lin Feng would not dare to touch their bodies. Lin Feng was not worried that the 2 brothers would hurt him. Lin Feng was worried that if an external force came into contact with the 2 brothers who had gone berserk, it was very likely that the 2 brothers would die immediately. Snow Lady heard the commotion and walked over. Lin Feng looked at Snow Lady and asked, "Do you think they've gone berserk?" Snow Lady replied, "It looks like it, but I don't think so." Actually, Lin Feng had the same feeling. The situation of the 2 brothers going berserk was very similar. However, this was only on the surface. It was hard to say whether they had gone berserk or not. A voice in Lin Feng's heart told him this. Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan were not going berserk. This feeling was very strange, but it was also very strong. After hearing Snow Lady's words, Lin Feng felt that perhaps they were not going berserk. If they were not going berserk, then what were they going berserk? Could it be the awakening of their bloodline? Lin Feng thought of another possibility. A shocked expression appeared on his face. Look, their blood is changing. Why are there golden rays of light in their blood? Someone said, pointing at Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan. Lin Feng looked over as well. Indeed, he saw a shocking scene. The blood that flowed out of the 2 brothers' bodies was actually glowing with a golden glow. At this moment, Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan became much calmer. They were not as berserk as before. This scene seemed to confirm one of his guesses. The 2 of them, were they really going through the awakening of their bloodline? Finally, the 2 brothers lay on the ground. Their minds were a little dazed, but they finally calmed down. They were no longer howling and roaring like before. The 2 brothers looked up at the sky, panting heavily. A shocking fluctuation was emitted from their bodies, and the fluctuation had yet to disappear. Zongjuan, Zongshan, get up, Lin Feng said. Hearing this, the 2 brothers stood up. Lin Feng said, try using your magic to circulate the blood in your bodies. Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan followed Lin Feng's instructions and began to circulate the blood in their bodies. When the blood in their bodies began to circulate, in an instant, golden light filled the sky behind them. In the golden light, an identical Saint King appeared from each of the 3 Saint Kings. The bloodline of the Sage Emperor. It's actually the bloodline of the Sage Emperor. The people of the Xia village are the descendants of the human race's Sage Emperor. When he saw the Sage Emperors that appeared in Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan's bloodline, Lin Feng could not help but be extremely shocked. Chapter 4561. The Sage Emperor bloodline is the bloodline passed down by the Sage Emperor of the human race, which is what the undying world defines as the sinner's bloodline. The Sage Emperor bloodline is very rare, but any kind of Sage Emperor bloodline is incomparably powerful. For example, the Sage Emperor bloodline passed down by the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. It is one of the most powerful ancient bloodlines of the human race. Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan actually awakened the Sage Emperor bloodline. Doesn't this mean that the 2 of them are the descendants of the Sage Emperor? Then the people of Xia village are also the descendants of the Sage Emperor? They are also the so-called sinner's blood descendants. Lin Feng completely did not expect that the people he interacts with day and night are actually the people he has been looking for. Lin Feng has always been looking for the sinner's blood descendants, and only now did he find them. But unfortunately, this lineage had completely declined. For many years, there were no experts who rose to prominence, and no one has been able to awaken the ancestral bloodline. Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan finally awakened their ancestral bloodline after many years. This can be considered a great fortune for them. I am the Shun Emperor. Enlighten the people. Suddenly, the Sage Emperor's shadow behind Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan spoke at the same time. The Shun Emperor. This Sage Emperor is actually the Shun Emperor. Previously, Lin Feng was looking for the Shun Emperor, and the skeleton that the Demon Lord obtained from the Demon Eye of the Netherworld was also the Shun Emperor's skeleton. So Lin Feng thinks that the Demon Lord and the Shun Emperor have a deep relationship. In fact, Lin Feng has an even bolder guess. When he first met the Demon Lord's memories were incomplete. Later, as his cultivation gradually increased, the Demon Lord recovered quite well, and many of his memories were restored. But there is one thing that makes Lin Feng very doubtful. Even if the Demon Lord recovered his memories, at most he would only recover the memories from the immemorial era. After all, he is a character from the immemorial era. But the Demon Lord is very clear about the matters of the past, even the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors era. Moreover, the Demon Lord even knows many ancient characters that have disappeared since the immemorial era. These doubts made Lin Feng boldly speculate whether the Demon Lord had stolen other people's memories. Moreover, it was the memory of an extremely ancient expert. If he didn't, how could the Demon Lord know so many unknown things and ancient words that had been lost for a long time? Unless the Demon Lord himself was a reincarnation of an ancient powerhouse, the Demon Lord could fuse with the remains of Emperor Shun. Lin Feng knew one thing very well. The evolution of all things in the world had a karmic cycle. How could the remains of Emperor Shun be so easily fused with other people's bodies? There must be a great karma involved in this. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve this. Therefore, Lin Feng made a bold conjecture. The Demon Lord is the reincarnation of Emperor Shun? This sounded a little inconceivable, and there was no way to prove it. After all, it was just Lin Feng's guess. His guess was wrong. It was highly possible. But no matter what, Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan were able to awaken the bloodline of Emperor Shun. This made Lin Feng extremely happy, because Emperor Shun still had descendants living in the world. Emperor Shun's bloodline had not been severed. In the following period of time, Lin Feng constantly urged Xia Zongjuan and Xia Zongshan to diligently cultivate. The 2 brothers were both people who could endure hardships, so they cultivated very seriously. No matter how hard it was, they never once complained of being tired. This kind of character was worthy of praise. Only by enduring the most bitter of hardships could one rise above others. If one wanted to rise above others, one didn't want to suffer a little. How could there be such a good thing in this world? In addition, Lin Feng had been waiting for the Red World Fairy to come find him. If Lin Feng wanted to deal with the other 9 wandering cultivators, he had to borrow the strength of the Red World Fairy. Of course, Lin Feng also wanted to borrow the strength of Duguya, the Savage, and the other seniors. But Lin Feng didn't know where they were, and the Red World Fairy was relatively easy to find. Lin Feng knew that after the news spread that an old friend was looking for her, the Red World Fairy definitely knew that he was looking for her. But whether or not the Red World Fairy had appeared, Lin Feng didn't know. On this night, Lin Feng was cultivating in his room. He suddenly felt as if there was a pair of eyes watching him in the dark. Then, A familiar feeling swept through his mind. Lin Feng opened his eyes. His face lit up. Had the Red World Fairy come? Lin Feng had originally felt that there was a rather special connection between him and the Red World Fairy. Now, this connection was even stronger. He walked out, and then, relying on this special connection, he flew all the way. An hour later, at the peak of a mountain, Lin Feng saw a figure. It was a beautiful woman dressed as a man. She was about 16 or 17 years old, and there were some small bells hanging on her body. When the night wind blew, the bell tinkled. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. The Red World Fairy was so far away from him. She didn't go to the Xia family village. If he didn't have a special connection with her, didn't that mean he didn't know that she was coming? The Red World Fairy turned to look at Lin Feng. Her eyes were very beautiful and full of spirit. Perhaps no one would think that this woman, who looked like a 16 or 17-year-old girl, would be a woman with extremely terrifying cultivation and decisive killing. Why are you looking for me? The Red World Fairy asked. Lin Feng heard something different from the Red World Fairy's words. There seemed to be less unfamiliarity between them. This feeling made Lin Feng very happy. In fact, he quite liked being together with the Red World Fairy. Although this woman was very powerful, the feeling of conquering her would definitely be very good, right? I need your help, Lin Feng said. I'm very busy. How would I have the time to talk to you? The Red World Fairy said calmly. However, she didn't leave. Since she had chosen to come, she must have guessed why he had asked her to come. Lin Feng said, Of course, I know that the fairy is busy, but as old friends, we should still have time to help each other, right? In the past, Lin Feng had always called the Red World Fairy Celestial Lord, but today, Lin Feng called the Red World Fairy Fairy. The Red World Fairy obviously heard Lin Feng's new way of addressing her. She couldn't help but raise her eyebrows slightly. The Red World Fairy said, You've become bolder. Lin Feng naturally knew why the Red World Fairy said that. Lin Feng said, You're so young and so beautiful. It's too awkward to call you the Red World Fairy. It's better to call you Fairy Hongchun. The Red World Fairy looked coldly at Lin Feng, then waved her hand. You're getting more and more impudent. An invisible force swept Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was instantly sent flying. Then, his body slammed into a mountain. Fourth update. Brothers, have you completed the mission? Have you voted for the recommendation vote? Remember to complete the mission. We're currently ranked 8th. We can be overtaken at any time. Brothers, let's surpass 7th. The 29th event ends. As long as we don't fall. Old Man 2 explodes with 20 chapters to give back to the brothers who support Old Man 2. Chapter 4562. Lin Feng could not help but smile bitterly. The Red World Fairy was truly ruthless. She attacked as soon as she said so. She did not give him any face at all. However, Lin Feng soon discovered that the Red World Fairy's attack did not cause him much pain. It seemed that the Red World Fairy had held back her strength. In that case, the Red World Fairy was only trying to scare him. Fortunately, this meant that the Red World Fairy was not truly angry. She was just putting on a show. Perhaps it was because he had always referred to her as a venerable immortal, but now he was referring to her as a fairy. The Red World Fairy was not used to it, so she retaliated. The fairy's strength has increased greatly, Lin Feng said with a bitter smile as he flew back. His words were indeed based on the actual situation. The Red World Fairy's strength had increased greatly. She had always been like this, and her cultivation had increased very quickly. Lin Feng was not particularly clear on what realm she was at now. However, the Red World Fairy was already able to cross realms to deal with cultivators of higher realms when she was still at a lower realm. Thus, the level of her realm could not fully reflect the Red World Fairy's true strength. Speak. What is it? The Red World Fairy looked at Lin Feng and asked. Her words were concise, as she did not want to waste any time. Lin Feng said, It's like this. I want to establish a faction in the Sin Realm to contend with the Sacred Army. It would be best if I could unite the Sin Realm's bloodline. First, I plan to unite the 10 great loose cultivators and have them all submit to me. I have already subdued one of them, but the other 9 will obviously not agree. So, I plan to use some forceful means to get rid of them all. When the time comes, they will have to agree even if they don't agree. I need a helper to do all this, so I thought of you." After hearing Lin Feng's words, the Red World Fairy said, "I can help you, but what benefits will you give me?" "What benefits do you want?" "I can promise you anything." Lin Feng said, "I want your heavenly flame. Do you agree?" The Red World Fairy said. Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a bitter smile. "I was just teasing you. Look at how scared you are." The Red World Fairy laughed. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He really did not expect that the Red World Fairy would joke with others. "Fairy, you're really, really too naughty." After thinking for a long time, Lin Feng found a word to describe the Red World Fairy. The Red World Fairy said, "What? Am I not allowed to joke around with others?" Lin Feng replied, "Of course not. I felt that you were even more." "More what?" The Red World Fairy couldn't help but ask when Lin Feng stopped talking. "Even cuter," Lin Feng said. The Red World Fairy said coldly, "You're even more impudent than usual. Don't spout nonsense in front of me, or I won't be polite." As soon as he finished speaking, Venerable Immortal Hong Chun walked away. "Fairy, wait," Lin Feng said. "What?" The Red World Fairy asked. "Aren't you going to take a look at the mountain village? That's a descendant of Emperor Shun," Lin Feng said. The Red World Fairy said, "Emperor Shun still has a descendant living in this world? Not bad, not bad. I'll wait for you in front. Go and say goodbye. Don't make me wait too long." "Okay." Lin Feng nodded and quickly returned. He explained the situation to the Snow Maiden. The Snow Maiden was getting along well with the villagers, and the children in the village were especially fond of her. They had always treated her like a fairy, and she liked to teach the children. The children's cultivation improved rapidly under her guidance. Lin Feng allowed the Snow Maiden to stay in the village because she liked it very much, and she could take care of Emperor Shun's descendants. It was killing two birds with one stone, so the Snow Maiden didn't object. However, before Lin Feng left, the Snow Maiden repeatedly warned him to be careful. "Big brother Lin, are you leaving?" When Lin Feng was about to leave, Xia Zhongjuan and Xia Zongshan heard the commotion outside and came out. Although it was late at night, the two brothers were still cultivating, so they could hear the commotion outside. Lin Feng said, "I'm going out to take care of some important matters. You two follow Sister Qinxue and cultivate. Don't relax or slack off. When I return, we'll check on your cultivation progress." "Yes, big brother Lin. You must be careful," Xia Zhongjuan and Xia Zongshan said. Lin Feng nodded and quickly left to meet up with the Red World Fairy. Then, the two of them went to the ancient Umo city. When they arrived, Lin Feng met with Sovereign Umo. "Remove the news I told you to spread," Lin Feng said. "Yes, young master," Sovereign Umo replied. He couldn't help but glance at the Red World Fairy beside Lin Feng. Since Lin Feng told him to remove the news, it meant that the Red World Fairy had already found Lin Feng. Since she dares to address me as Venerable Immortal, it seems that this Venerable Immortal Hong Chun is definitely a powerful figure. Could it be that the girl who looks to be 16 or 17 years old is Venerable Immortal Hong Chun? But her life aura was a little too young. However, this wasn't something a subordinate should speculate about. As a subordinate, listening to orders and speaking less was what a qualified subordinate should do. Sovereign Umo ordered people to deal with this matter. Then, Lin Feng said, "Send people to send invitations to the other 9 great wandering cultivators. Say that you happen to know of a mystic realm left behind by an ancient expert and plan to invite the 9 great experts to explore it together." "Yes, young master." Sovereign Umo's spirit was slightly shaken. He knew that Lin Feng planned to make a move against the other 9 great experts. Although he hadn't been in contact with Lin Feng for a long time, there was one thing that Sovereign Umo knew. That was, Lin Feng was definitely a person with extraordinary intelligence. Since Lin Feng planned to make a move, he most likely had great confidence. Could it be because of the arrival of the Red World Fairy that he had such confidence? Sovereign Umo didn't dare to ask and passed down the order. Soon, people went to the 9 great experts' residences to deliver the invitations. Lin Feng and the Red World Fairy temporarily stayed in the Umo Palace. Half a month later, The 9 great wandering cultivator experts began to arrive one after another. Clearly, these 9 great wandering cultivator experts were also very interested in the ancient mystic realm that Sovereign Umo mentioned. After the 9 great experts arrived, Sovereign Umo invited everyone to the guest hall to discuss this matter. After the 9 great experts arrived, they discovered that there were 2 young human cultivators, one male and one female, sitting in the guest hall. They couldn't help but feel a little strange, but they didn't think too much about it. Their thoughts were all on the ancient mystic realm left behind by the ancient expert. 5th update, brothers, the popular character is now ranked 8th. Everyone help count. He's about to be overtaken. Old Man 2 thanks everyone. Chapter 45-63. Supremacy You Fiend, the secret realm left behind by an immemorial expert you mentioned. Which immemorial expert did you leave behind? One of the experts asked Supremacy You Fiend. This person was a cultivator transformed from a golden condor. His name was Supremacy Golden Condor. Yeah, which immemorial expert left behind this secret realm? Why did Supremacy You Fiend go to such great lengths to gather all of us here? Stop keeping us in suspense. Tell us now. The group of experts said. They wanted to know which immemorial expert had left behind the secret realm mentioned in Supremacy You Fiend's invitation. At that moment, Lin Feng stood up and said, Everybody, Umo at the top of the Zunqi layer didn't say anything about the mysterious world. Actually, Umo at the top of the Zunqi layer didn't look for you. I did. What? That secret realm doesn't exist? Brat, who are you? Why are you looking for us? Supremacy You Fiend, what's going on? You actually dared to trick us 9 experts into coming here. What are you up to? When the experts heard Lin Feng's words, their expressions turned gloomy. They said coldly. They looked at Lin Feng, Supremacy You Fiend, and the Red World Fairy with unfriendly gazes. Because they felt that Lin Feng's group had worked together to trick them. Moreover, they felt that Lin Feng's group was definitely up to no good. Supremacy You Fiend said, Everyone, please don't be angry. This is what happened. Let me explain it to everyone. The experts' expressions turned gloomy as they waited for Supremacy You Fiend's explanation. Supremacy You Fiend said, This young master before us is my master. Your master? The 9 experts were extremely shocked. Someone as prideful as Supremacy You Fiend actually recognized someone else as his master? Moreover, the other party was merely a young human cultivator. They felt that Supremacy You Fiend must have gone crazy. Supremacy You Fiend said, Everyone, there's no need to be so shocked. My master might be young, but his background is astonishing. He's destined to become the emperor of the human race in the future. High Lord Umo, you're bragging too much. An expert sneered. High Lord Umo wasn't angry and said indifferently, I'm sure you've all heard of my master's identity. Who is he? Someone asked. Lin Baiyin's son, Lin Feng. High Lord Umo said. What? Is he Lin Baiyin's son, Lin Feng? Descendants of the sinner's blood. Crown Prince, son of Di Wudao's enemy? Cries of surprise rang out one after another. These experts looked at Lin Feng with cold gazes. If he captured Lin Feng and handed him over to Di Wudao, how many benefits would he be able to exchange for? Moreover, Lin Feng still had the Hui Bao and the ancestral Magus Jade talisman on him. If they caught Lin Feng, they would be able to make a fortune. However, these people did not act rashly. They were still quietly observing the situation. At this time, Lin Feng said, Everyone, I had High Lord Umo invite all of you here because I want to discuss something important with you. Now that Doomsday has arrived, there are not many opportunities left for us. If you are still in your current state, you will definitely die when the Doomsday battle arrives. However, if you pledge your allegiance to me, I can naturally protect you and let you survive the Doomsday battle. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the 9 experts sneered, Shameless boasting. Brat, do you think you're amazing just because you're Lin Baiyin's son? The one who's amazing is your father, not you. Besides, your father can't even protect himself right now. If you want to use Lin Baiyin's reputation to show off, you're courting death. An expert sneered. Brat, hand over the Hui Bao and the ancestral Magus Jade talisman, and we might spare your life. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless." At this time, another expert said. Obviously, these 9 experts already had plans to attack Lin Feng. Although they hadn't made a move yet, it didn't mean that they wouldn't. Lin Feng wasn't worried. With the Red World Fairy here, what was there to worry about? Even if the Red World Fairy wasn't here, Lin Feng wasn't worried. This was because if Lin Feng wanted to leave, 9 quasi-true immortals wouldn't be able to stop him. Only true immortals could stop Lin Feng. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I invited all of you here with good intentions to give you riches and honor. However, do you mean that you don't want to cooperate with me? If that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite." "Brat, don't you know what you're capable of? How dare you speak to us in such a manner? Brat, you're not living in a dream, right? With your little cultivation, you dare to be impudent in front of us? You simply don't know how the word death is written." One expert after another looked at Lin Feng indifferently. They were full of ridicule and disdain for Lin Feng. Clearly, they didn't place Lin Feng in their eyes at all. In their eyes, Lin Feng was just a minor character. If they wanted to deal with Lin Feng, it would be a piece of cake. Exalt-UMO said, "Everyone, since we've known each other for a while, I advise you to obediently acknowledge my young master as your master. If you don't cooperate, you'll regret it when the time comes." As soon as Exalt-UMO finished speaking, another expert said mockingly, "Exalt-UMO, your servility is really heavy. I didn't expect you to be such a slave before. No matter what, you're still a quasi-true immortal expert, yet you're willing to be a slave. You've really thrown away the face of us cultivators. To know you, we must have had 8 lifetimes of bad luck." Exalt-UMO trembled in anger at this expert's words. His gaze was gloomy, but he didn't say anything else. "Let's do it. I'll deal with this brat. Brother Golden Eagle, deal with that woman. The rest of you, deal with Exalt-UMO." An expert said. Okay, the rest agreed. Then, the group split up and charged at Lin Feng, the Red World Fairy, and Exalt-UMO. But at this moment, a terrifying aura spread out from the Red World Fairy's body. When that terrifying aura spread out, the 9 experts all froze. The bodies of the 9 experts were instantly fixed in place. They felt that they could no longer take another step forward. They could feel their souls trembling. They felt as if their bodies didn't belong to them anymore. Exalt-UMO couldn't help but be shocked. The Red World Fairy didn't target him, but he could feel how terrifying the aura from the Red World Fairy's body was. "True immortal? You're a true immortal?" The 9 experts looked at the Red World Fairy in fear. Chapter 4564. Lin Feng didn't know what realm the Red World Fairy was at, but the Red World Fairy's combat strength had reached the true immortal realm. Lin Feng didn't find it strange because Hong Chun was a terrifying cultivator. Back in the days, during the great battle of the continent of the 9 regions, he had been extremely strong. Lin Feng's cultivation was still very weak. At that time, the Red World Fairy was already able to compete with the Emperor. One could imagine how terrifying the Red World Fairy's strength was. After so many years, the Red World Fairy's combat strength had naturally reached an unfathomable level. Although the 9 quasi-true immortals in front of him were powerful, there was still a big gap between them and the Red World Fairy. The 9 quasi-true immortals were shocked, and so was Supremacy-UMO. When Supremacy-UMO first saw the Red World Fairy, he felt that the Red World Fairy was too young. Of course, at that time, Supremacy-UMO didn't underestimate the Red World Fairy. After all, someone who dared to be called an immortal supremacy must have an extremely tyrannical cultivation. However, Supremacy-UMO didn't expect that a young cultivator like the Red World Fairy was already terrifying to this extent. At this time, Supremacy-UMO realized that Lin Feng's background wasn't as simple as it seemed on the surface. "Those who believe in me will have eternal life." Lin Feng stepped out, his voice filled with a mysterious feeling. Lin Feng arrived in front of Supremacy Golden Condor. Then, he gently tapped the space between Supremacy Golden Condor's eyebrows. Suddenly, a powerful purification power poured into Supremacy Golden Condor's mind. "You want to purify me? No, no, no. I will never be your slave." Supremacy Golden Condor roared in horror. He wanted to struggle. However, his body was suppressed by the Red World Fairy's aura. He couldn't struggle at all. Supremacy Golden Condor couldn't resist Lin Feng's purification. This time, Lin Feng's attack was truly too overbearing. Not long after, Reverend Golden Condor was converted by Lin Feng. Thank you, young master, for teaching me to do good. Reverend Golden Condor clasped his hands together and looked at Lin Feng with a sincere expression. What an overbearing great purification technique. The rest of the people's expressions changed drastically when they saw Reverend Golden Condor. Right now, Reverend Golden Condor seemed to have lost his mind. It was as if he had become a walking corpse. Anyone who saw Venerable Lord Golden Condor in this state would be greatly affected. This was the terrifying aspect of the great purification technique. Once a person was converted, those who were converted would become walking corpses. Now, Reverend Golden Condor had become a walking corpse. They were completely under Lin Feng's command. When Lin Feng told it to go west, it didn't dare to go east. When Lin Feng told it to commit suicide, it didn't dare to continue living. Lin Feng nodded at Reverend Golden Condor and walked towards the second expert. This person was a cultivator transformed from a 9-headed demon wolf. His name was Reverend Demon Wolf. Seeing Lin Feng walk over, Reverend Demon Wolf began to beg for mercy. He said, Lin Gongzi, please have mercy. I'm willing to acknowledge you as my master. I beg Lin Gongzi not to convert me. I'll be loyal and devoted in the future. Lin Feng ignored Reverend Demon Wolf's pleas. There was only one chance. Lin Feng had already given them a chance. However, these people didn't take it. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't give them another chance. Those who believe in me will have eternal life, Lin Feng muttered to himself. Then, he gently tapped Reverend Demon Wolf's glabella. A powerful force of conversion continuously poured into Reverend Demon Wolf's mind. Reverend Demon Wolf wanted to resist. However, he suffered the same fate as Reverend Golden Condor. He couldn't resist at all. In the end, he was also converted by Lin Feng. Don't convert us. We're willing to submit. We'll definitely be loyal and devoted. One by one, the experts pleaded loudly. However, Lin Feng didn't pay attention to their pleas at all. He continued to convert others. Seeing Lin Feng convert one expert after another, Reverend Umo, who was at the side, was horrified. However, he was also incomparably glad. Fortunately, he took the initiative to acknowledge Lin Feng as his master. Otherwise, he might have been converted by Lin Feng. At that time, he would be the same as these people. He had completely lost himself and was almost like a walking corpse. What was the point of such a life? In the end, the 9 experts were converted by Lin Feng one after another, other than Reverend Golden Condor and Reverend Demon Wolf who were at the front. The other 7 experts were Reverend Elkdeer, Reverend Feng Jiao, Reverend Evil Kuan, Reverend Bloodcrow, Reverend Joyong, Reverend Sky Surveyor, and Reverend Sky Devouring. Now that Lin Feng had converted 9 experts, including Reverend Umo, Lin Feng already had 10 quasi-immortal level experts under his command. Today, the Sacred Legion will definitely know that all of you have gathered here with High Lord Umo. The Sacred Legion will definitely investigate the purpose of your gathering. After leaving Umo Palace, spread the news that High Lord Umo knows of an ancient expert's mystic realm and invited all of you to explore the mystic realm together. However, all of you didn't reach an agreement on the distribution of benefits, so it fell through. Lin Feng said, "Yes, young master." The 9 experts hurriedly replied. Lin Feng continued, "When you return, you'll recruit people. You must recruit more experts. Don't worry. As long as you're loyal to me, this young master won't treat you unfairly. We will definitely go through water and tread on fire for young master." The 10 experts immediately said, Lin Feng nodded. "All of you have lived in Sin Realm for a long time. Do you know where the stronger sinners' bloodlines are hidden?" The group shook their heads. Reverend Golden Condor said, "The Sacred Legion's attacks on the sinner's bloodline are very severe, and their methods are incomparably bloody. Most of the sinner's bloodline were killed, and those who weren't killed are hidden deeper. However, young master, perhaps you can go to the sinner's capital to take a look." Sin City? What's that place? Lin Feng asked, puzzled. Reverend Golden Condor said, after the sinner's bloodline was driven to the Sin realm, they established a kingdom in the Sin realm. Later on, the sinner's bloodline was massacred and that kingdom was destroyed. The capital of that kingdom is the Sin capital. Perhaps there are some clues about the sinner's bloodlines in Sin City. All right, all of you can return now, Lin Feng said. Yes, young master. The 9 experts bowed to Lin Feng and left. Lin Feng and the Red World Fairy didn't stay in Serene Demon Palace for long. They left as well. Now that Lin Feng had subdued the 10 experts, the first step of his plan to establish a force in Sin Realm was complete. The next step was to find the descendants of the sinner's bloodlines. Lin Feng hoped to unite the sinner's bloodlines. This was a very powerful force. Brothers, we're now ranked 10th. Brothers, let's work harder and charge up. Old Steamed Bun wants to cry but has no tears. Old Steamed Bun begs for everyone's help. Chapter 45-65. Outside the ancient city, Lin Feng looked at the Red World Fairy and asked with a smile, Fairy, do you want to come with me to Sin City to take a look? The Red World Fairy looked at Lin Feng indifferently and said, Looking for a free fighter? Lin Feng said, Of course not. I'm inviting you to Sin City as a friend. The Red World Fairy said, You and I are not friends, so I refuse your invitation. As soon as he finished speaking, Honorable Immortal Hong Chun disappeared on the spot. After the Red World Fairy left, Lin Feng could not help but mutter, That's right. We're not friends. We're lovers. Asterisk bang. Asterisk but the next moment, Lin Feng was sent flying by an invisible force. The Red World Fairy's voice resounded in his ears. If you dare to spout nonsense again, I won't let you off so easily next time. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. The Red World Fairy had already left. Could she still hear his muttering? Wasn't this woman a little too perverted? Or could it be that the Red World Fairy had not left at all? Was she hiding in the dark and spying on him? Peeping Tom. Lin Feng wailed inwardly. Lin Feng did not stay where he was. He got up from the ground and flew towards Sin City. Sin City. It had a long history. It could be considered a famous ancient city in Sin Realm. But ever since the dynasty established by the sinner's bloodline was destroyed, Sin City was no longer prosperous. Some people were imprisoned here. These people were mainly the in-laws of the sinner's bloodline. Back then, the sinner's bloodline had been massacred in large numbers. As for the relatives of the sinner's bloodline, even though they did not have the sinner's bloodline, they were still implicated. These people were also massacred by the Sacred Army. The casualties were extremely heavy. However, this incident caused a huge uproar in the Undying Realm, and many factions were extremely dissatisfied. After all, it was fine if you were dealing with the sinner's bloodline. Why must you slaughter innocent people wantonly? Under the pressure from all sides, the Sacred Army had not completely massacred the sinner's bloodline in-laws. However, most of the sinner's bloodline in-laws who were lucky enough to survive were imprisoned in the Sin capital. They basically had no chance of leaving the city of Sin. Sinful City used to be very lively in the past, but when Lin Feng came here, it was a completely different scene. This place was lifeless, as if he had come to a place filled with despair. As Lin Feng walked down the street, he saw quite a few cultivators like Lin Feng. After all, Sin City was a huge ancient city. Moreover, this ancient city was an extremely important place. Thus, there were quite a few people who came here to rest and do business. However, the city of Sin was heavily guarded. Therefore, the cultivators who passed through this place were extremely cautious. He would not speak carelessly here. If the Sacred Legion heard him, he would not speak carelessly. At that time, it wouldn't end well. Little brother, I see that your face is very handsome. With one look, I can tell that you are someone with great luck. This old man just happens to have a treasure here that is fated to be with young noble. Whether or not you can obtain this treasure will depend on young noble's sincerity. At this time, an old man came to Lin Feng's side. With the demeanor of a martial arts master, he promoted the so-called treasure to Lin Feng. This kind of situation often gave people the feeling that they had met a swindler. Lin Feng also felt that this old man in front of him might be a swindler, but he didn't drive him away. This was because this old man was as thin as firewood. His eyes were bloodshot, and his body didn't seem to be particularly good. Lin Feng's heart was moved by compassion. "What is it?" Lin Feng asked. "A map," the old man said. "Map? What map?" Lin Feng asked doubtfully. "A cloud-piercing arrow. A magnificent army will come to meet you. Rumor has it that this map can lead you to an invincible army of the past. This is a token. When the time comes, young noble can take this token and become the leader of that invincible army," the old man said. After hearing the old man's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. He originally thought that the old man was just trying to sell him some secret manuals of cultivation methods and divine abilities. Who would have thought that this old man was promoting a map related to an invincible army? No matter how he looked at it, it sounded like he had met a swindler. Lin Feng said with a smile that wasn't a smile. "With such a map, why don't you go look for it yourself? If you can find that invincible army, won't you become the leader of that army? At that time, you'll be awesome," the old man said seriously. "Actually, I also looked for it, but I didn't find it. Of course, it's not that there's a problem with my map. It's because I don't have the opportunity, so I've been waiting for the fated person to appear. Young noble is clearly that fated person." Hearing this, Lin Feng only wanted to say, "Who are you trying to fool?" At this time, the old man handed the map to Lin Feng. Lin Feng took the map and looked at it. He saw a special symbol on the map. The symbol was in the shape of a lightning bolt. Lin Feng asked, "What does this lightning bolt mean?" The old man said, "This invincible army is called the Lightning Corps." "Lightning Corps? What kind of corps is that?" Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Why did the name sound so strange? Why not call it the Lightning Corps? This name seemed to be cooler than the Lightning Corps. The old man said, "The Lightning Corps is an army with an extraordinary background." "What's so extraordinary about the Lightning Corps?" Lin Feng asked curiously. The old man said, "The commander of the Lightning Corps has a lightning bolt symbol between his eyebrows. That's how the Lightning Corps got its name." "Is that a racial symbol? A member of the Lightning Tribe?" Lin Feng asked in astonishment. He thought of an ancient race in history, the Lightning Tribe. It was extremely powerful in the past, but it was said that this race had been destroyed. That's right. The commander was a member of the Lightning Tribe. It's said that his name was Mu Xiuhan. Later on, he formed the Lightning Corps. Perhaps you don't know how terrifying the Lightning Corps is, but I've heard that it was one of the strongest cultivator armies during the era of titled gods. Unfortunately, the Lightning Corps seemed to have fallen into a trap and was completely wiped out. In that case, this corps has already disappeared, and you're still asking me to find it? Lin Feng was speechless. The soul of the Lightning Corps hasn't been destroyed, and they've turned into an army of ghost soldiers. If you can find the Lightning Corps with the map, you can become its new master. Think about it. How glorious would it be to control a huge army of ghost soldiers? Of course, the most important thing is to control such an army. When the time comes, you'll be invincible," the old man said in an enticing manner. "In that case, this map is really good stuff. I'll buy it. Name a price." Lin Feng said, "Brothers, have you completed the mission? Everyone is a big shot, and they've eliminated us. However, we can't give up. Everyone, continue to complete the mission. Vote, 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 and reward until the last day." Chapter 4566. 100 Immortal Stones, the old man said. Lin Feng nodded. To him, 100 immortal stones was just the cost of a meal. To others, 100 immortal stones was already an astronomical figure. Lin Feng took out 100 immortal stones and handed it to the old man. The old man thanked him and hurriedly left, as if he was afraid that Lin Feng would go back on his word. Lin Feng looked at the map, which was full of twists and turns. This map doesn't seem to be complete. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Of course, he didn't really expect this map to be the token of the Lightning Corps. Lin Feng couldn't help everyone. However, he would do his best to help some people. For example, the old man from before. "Little brother, you were scammed just now. That old man comes out to sell maps every day, and the maps he sells are exactly the same. A cultivator who had set up a stall nearby looked at Lin Feng with a gloating expression. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I know." The cultivator's eyes widened and he asked, "You know he's a scammer, but you still bought his things? Are you stupid?" Lin Feng said indifferently, "Can't I be happy? It's just 100 immortal stones. I spend more than 10,000 immortal stones for a meal. If 100 immortal stones were to be thrown on the ground, I wouldn't even bother to bend down and pick them up." After hearing Lin Feng's words, the corner of the gloating stall owner's mouth twitched violently. He didn't doubt Lin Feng's words, because Lin Feng didn't seem to feel any heartache. Where did this rich man come from? If he had known, he would have tricked him into buying things. Lin Feng found an inn in the city of Sin to stay. He planned to go to the black market to inquire about the descendants of the Sin's bloodline and the marriage of the Sin's bloodline. Of course, he could obtain all kinds of information through the proper channels, but the information through the proper channels was usually controlled by some big forces. For example, the Sacred Core was very likely to control the proper channels in the City of Sin. It was fine to inquire about other things, but to inquire about the marriage between the descendants of the sinner's bloodline and the descendants of the sinner's bloodline, wasn't that just courting death? Perhaps before the information had been gathered, the cultivator army of the Sacred Legion had already come to capture them. The black market in Sin City was very lively. People came and went as foreign cultivators liked to sell all kinds of things here. He also liked to buy all kinds of things here. Lin Feng saw a female cultivator in front of him with a graceful figure. She was wearing a green dress, and there were a few snow-white foxtails under the dress. The nine-tailed Arctic fox was a famous fox spirit. Fox spirits were beautiful to begin with. The nine-tailed white fox was the most beautiful female cultivator among the fox spirits. Although Ning Cheng did not see the appearance of this fox spirit, however, judging from the reactions of the surrounding people and her graceful figure, one could tell just how beautiful that fox spirit was. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't so bored as to run to the front to see what the vixen looked like. He wasn't that bored, and he wasn't that lustful. Lin Feng stopped in front of a trading company. Generally, trading companies would sell all kinds of things, including all kinds of information. There were quite a few trading companies in the black market. The reason why Lin Feng stopped in front of this trading company was because this trading company was called Heavenly Talk Floor. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He originally thought that Heavenly Talk Floor was just an organization that sold information alone, but now it seemed that he was wrong. Heavenly Talk Floor didn't just sell all kinds of information. It also established a trading company. Lin Feng still remembered Su Ran from the Divine Monarch City's black market. She was responsible for the operation of Divine Monarch City's Heavenly Talk Floor. Of course, Divine Monarch City's Heavenly Talk Floor was not the same as Sin City's Heavenly Talk Floor. When Lin Feng went to Divine Monarch City's Heavenly Talk Floor, it only sold all kinds of information. Perhaps it was because Divine Monarch City's Heavenly Talk Floor had just been established. One had to take one step at a time. One couldn't eat fatso all at once. Therefore, Divine Monarch City's Heavenly Talk Floor only sold all kinds of information for the time being. In the future, it would probably establish a trading company model. Only by doing so could one maximize one's profits. Obviously, many large organizations understood this principle. After Lin Feng entered Heavenly Talk Floor, a beautiful servant girl came forward to serve Lin Feng. "I want to inquire about some important information. Bring me to see your Heavenly Talk Floor's elder," Lin Feng said. The servant girl could tell that Lin Feng had an extraordinary bearing, so she didn't dare slight him. She respectfully said, "Please follow me, young master." Lin Feng nodded and followed behind the servant girl. The servant girl brought Lin Feng to a drawing room. She then poured some tea for Lin Feng. Then, he retreated and went to invite the elder. Not long after, an old man arrived. The old man's name was Su Mu. He had the same surname as Su Ran. It was unknown if they were from the same clan. Both sides cupped their fists and sat down. Su Mu smiled and asked, "Young master, may I know what information you wish to inquire about?" Lin Feng said, "Information about the sinner's blood descendants. How much do you know here?" Su Mu was surprised. He hadn't expected Lin Feng to be here to inquire about the sinner's blood descendants. Thus, He couldn't help but take a deep look at Lin Feng and say, "The sinner's blood descendants are rather well hidden. It's difficult for us to inquire about them." Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his brows. Although he had mentally prepared himself, Lin Feng was still rather disappointed when he heard Su Mu's words. He then asked, "What about the sinner's blood-in-laws? What's the current situation?" Su Mu said, "Back then, about 70% of the sinner's blood-in-laws were slaughtered. Only the old, weak, women, and children remained. The sacred army was pressured into not killing them. However, the sinner's blood-in-laws were strictly guarded. Coupled with the fact that they weren't able to obtain any cultivation resources, their blood gradually died out. Many of the sinner's blood-in-laws gradually turned into mortal bodies and vanished from the world." Lin Feng frowned. The situation seemed to be much worse than he had imagined. "Does that mean the sinner's blood-in-laws have completely declined?" Lin Feng asked. Sumu nodded and said, "You can put it that way. The natives of Sin City are basically the descendants of the sinner's blood-in-laws. There are many of them, and the atmosphere is lifeless all day long. There is no hope in life. However, these descendants of the sinner's blood-in-laws don't know much about the past. Perhaps there are some who do, but those people are very well hidden and won't reveal themselves easily." Lin Feng didn't obtain any particularly useful information during his trip to Heavenly Savvy Tower, which made him feel rather helpless. He had originally wanted to find clues about the sinner's blood descendants, but now it seemed that it wouldn't be easy. After leaving Heavenly Savvy Tower, Lin Feng headed outside. He wasn't in the mood to stroll around the black market. Just as Lin Feng was about to leave the black market, the surroundings suddenly changed. Everyone on the street disappeared without a trace. Only he was left standing in the middle of the street. Chapter 45-67. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Someone had actually set up an illusion here. Was this person trying to kill him? Who was it? "Come out, don't hide your head and tail," Lin Feng said indifferently. A black-clothed cultivator with a sword on his back silently appeared in front of Lin Feng. This was a cultivator who had killed countless people, because Lin Feng could feel the aura of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood from him. This cultivator was very scary. Assassin? Lin Feng looked at the black-clothed cultivator in surprise. In the mortal world, Lin Feng had more contact with assassins. For example, the Nine Nether Assassin Dynasty. Back then, he was the one who destroyed this assassin dynasty. Of course, it was normal for the Undying world to have an assassin dynasty. After all, there were so many forces in the Undying world. What was so strange about someone forming a powerful assassin dynasty? It seemed that someone had found someone from the assassin dynasty to deal with him. The black-clothed man did not say anything, but a voice came from behind him. That's right. We are assassins who are here to kill you." Lin Feng looked behind him and saw a woman. She was extremely beautiful and charming. This woman had 9 foxtails. 9-tailed Arctic fox. It was actually the woman Lin Feng had seen before. He had admired this woman's graceful figure from behind, but Lin Feng had never thought that this woman was also an assassin. Lin Feng said in surprise, "Assassins are usually like this, brother, wrapping themselves up like a dumpling. Yet, you appear in front of me so openly. Aren't you afraid that I will reveal your identity?" The 9-tailed Arctic fox smiled and said, "Are you afraid that a dead person will reveal your secret?" Lin Feng raised his brows slightly and said, "It seems that you are extremely confident in your methods. Do you think you can kill me?" "Of course," the 9-tailed Arctic fox said indifferently. Then, she laughed coquettishly. "But how about this? I think you are quite good-looking. If you agree to be my manservant, I will spare your life. What do you think?" Coquettish, fox, tanuki. Lin Feng couldn't help but smirk. The 9-tailed Arctic fox's gaze turned cold. She sneered and said, "I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't cherish it. If that's the case, then only death awaits you." Lin Feng naturally didn't believe the 9-tailed white fox's words. If he really agreed to submit and then swore an oath to become her manservant, he would probably be killed immediately. He wouldn't even be able to resist. Of course, Lin Feng wouldn't agree. "Your figure is not bad, and your looks are not bad either. You are barely qualified to be my bed-warming maid, Lin Feng said with a faint smile. Kill him, the nine-tailed Arctic fox said coldly. So, at this time, the black-clothed assassin pulled out his sword and quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng took out the black dragon sword and quickly attacked the black-clothed assassin. However, he had only dashed out a few meters when the scene in front of him changed drastically. The surroundings turned into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Lin Feng found himself in the middle of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Within the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, there were endless corpses. Those corpses woke up one after another and rushed towards him. As for the assassin, he disappeared without a trace. Illusion. That vixen is so powerful. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He opened his Eye of Origin. As his Eye of Origin opened and closed, all the illusions disappeared. Lin Feng was still standing on the street, and the black-clothed assassin had already arrived in front of Lin Feng. The long sword in his hand stabbed towards the top of Lin Feng's head. In the blink of an eye, it was going to be a sword. It was going to pierce through Lin Feng's head. At this critical moment, Lin Feng's right hand appeared in front of the top of his head. Then, his two fingers directly clamped the incoming sword. The black-clothed assassin's expression changed slightly. Obviously, he didn't expect Lin Feng to block his fatal sword. Lin Feng's other hand was about to slap the black-clothed assassin to death. However, Lin Feng suddenly felt danger. The next moment, on Lin Feng's left, right, and back, a cold sword appeared in the void. They all stabbed towards Lin Feng. There were a total of 5 people on the other side. 2 were in the open and 2 were in the dark. If the 2 people in the open had a way to kill Lin Feng, the people in the dark naturally didn't have to make a move. If they couldn't kill Lin Feng, the people in the dark would make a move. Lin Feng had sensed the surrounding heaven and earth before, but he didn't sense the people in the dark. Obviously, their concealment methods were very terrifying. They hid from Lin Feng's senses. This made Lin Feng quite shocked. Now, the people in the dark suddenly came out, wanting to catch Lin Feng off guard. The eyes of the 5 assassins flashed with killing intent. In their view, Lin Feng's aura had already been locked by them. So, now, Lin Feng had no way to avoid it. There was only a dead end. At the critical moment, Lin Feng used the heaven patching technique. He borrowed another chance from the heavens. Swish! With a flash of light, Lin Feng suddenly disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, he was already 100 meters away. At this time, the 4 assassins and the 9-tailed Arctic fox gathered together. Lin Feng frowned as he looked at these people. This assassin team was really too powerful. Their cooperation was seamless. It was the first time Lin Feng had encountered such a powerful assassin team. You are different from other assassin organizations, Lin Feng said with a frown. The 9-tailed Arctic fox smiled and said, Of course, we are from the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty. Speaking of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty, the 9-tailed Arctic fox and the 4 assassins had an extremely arrogant expression. Never heard of it, Lin Feng said indifferently. A lowly person like you naturally has never heard of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty. The 9-tailed Arctic fox sneered. Obviously, she should be the leader of this assassin team. She was responsible for creating illusions to confuse and restrict the opponent. As for the other assassins, they were responsible for killing the opponent. Lin Feng said indifferently, You really think too highly of yourself. Assassins are just a group of people who can't see the light of day. A very sad group of people. You actually have the nerve to show an arrogant look? Are you trying to deceive yourself? You don't know life from death. The 9-tailed Arctic fox's gaze suddenly sank. She stretched out her slender jade hands. Then, her hands continuously changed seals. Each seal was filled with a sense of mystery. Lin Feng realized that the surrounding scene had changed again. He once again looked from the street. It was as if the scene in front of him had turned into hell. There was a gloomy ghost aura everywhere, permeating between heaven and earth. The 9-tailed Arctic fox and the other 4 assassins had disappeared. When Lin Feng opened his Eye of Origin to see through the illusion in front of him, he was shocked to find that his Eye of Origin was unable to see through the illusion in front of him. Chapter 4568. Lin Feng had always been very confident in his Eye of Origin. Moreover, his Eye of Origin was indeed very powerful. It was very rare for it to fail. But today, Lin Feng's Eye of Origin had failed. Obviously, Lin Feng knew that the fox spirit must have used some unknown method to interfere with his Eye of Origin. That fox spirit was still very terrifying. Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate that fox spirit. After all, this blood prison assassin team was very powerful. And to be able to become the leader of this assassin team, without a few skills, how could one become the leader? Others would not accept her. Lin Feng felt that danger was approaching, but he could not sense the whereabouts of the fox spirit and the other 4 people. The surroundings were filled with dense ghost qi. Cries that sounded like the cries of evil spirits resounded throughout the world. When the cries were heard, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. Anyone would feel their hair stand on end. If you don't come out, I won't be able to force you out? Lin Feng's face revealed a cold expression. He began to activate his haki. Lin Feng's epic haki had completed its evolution. After the epic haki evolved, the magnetic field power of the 4 layers of haki would be even more terrifying. Lin Feng activated his epic haki, White Tiger haki, Azure Dragon haki, and Supreme haki. The powerful haki shook the void. With Lin Feng as the center, a very terrifying magnetic field was formed. There were waves of violent fluctuations around the magnetic field. Every fluctuation resonated with the void. Under the effect of the haki magnetic field, the fox spirit and the 4 assassins appeared one after another. There was one person in front of Lin Feng, one on his left, one on his right, and one behind him. They were only 5 meters away from Lin Feng. The fox spirit stood 20 meters away. Obviously, these 4 assassins had relied on the fox spirit's extraordinary methods to quietly approach Lin Feng. They wanted to launch a killing blow on Lin Feng. However, after they were enveloped by Lin Feng's haki magnetic field, they took the initiative to appear. Kill! The 4 assassins shouted coldly at the same time. They were already very close to Lin Feng. Moreover, the 4 of them were besieging Lin Feng together. So the 4 assassins were quite confident that they could kill Lin Feng. Assassins actually had a very good habit of killing people. They were used to assassinating their targets. They did not fight openly with their targets. The reason was that assassins cultivated assassination techniques, and assassination techniques were characterized by sneak attacks. While the other party was unprepared, he stabbed the other party to death. According to the usual practice, the 4 of them should have retreated after being exposed. What Lin Feng had to deal with was not 4 hands, but 4 people. Moreover, they were standing in front, behind, left, and right of Lin Feng. How could Lin Feng alone contend with their attacks? Even the fox spirit who was casting the illusion in the distance felt that Lin Feng would undoubtedly die. Therefore, when the 4 assassins and the fox spirit looked at Lin Feng, it was as if they were looking at a dead man. Just as the 4 assassins rushed toward Lin Feng began to use the troop's true incantation. The 4 assassins were indeed powerful. Their encirclement was very terrifying. A little carelessness could lead to death in their hands. But Lin Feng was different. Lin Feng knew the troop's true incantation. This was what Lin Feng relied on. When Lin Feng's troop's true incantation was activated, the 4 assassins' cold swords that were originally aimed at Lin Feng were all reversed. They turned to assassinate themselves. The 4 assassins looked shocked. They did not expect such a thing to happen. At this time, Lin Feng had already started. Swish! With a flash of light, Lin Feng disappeared from his place. He used the instant movement divine ability. When he reappeared, he had already appeared in front of the assassin in front of him. Then Lin Feng used the divine finger and gently tapped the forehead of the assassin in front of him. Suddenly, a beam of light flew out and hit the forehead of the assassin in front of him. Puff! Blood spurted out. The assassin's body flew out upside down. Then, his body fell heavily to the ground, and his cold sword fell to the side. His eyes were wide open. Apparently, he died with grievances. Perhaps even until death, he did not expect that he would die like this. The other 3 assassins hurriedly put the cold swords in their hands into their storage rings. Lin Feng's means were so terrifying that it made them tremble in fear. You used the army mantra? The fox spirit looked at Lin Feng with an ugly expression. Lin Feng said indifferently. At least you have some knowledge. This kid is more difficult to deal with than we thought. Let's go and report this news to the higher-ups. Then, let them send more powerful cultivators to deal with this kid. The fox spirit said. The other 3 assassins nodded. Then, they wanted to leave. Lin Feng's face showed a sneer. He said, don't you think it's too late to leave now? We want to leave. You can't stop us. The fox spirit said with a sneer. Obviously, she was very confident in her means. The fox spirit and the 3 assassins hid their figures. But soon, they found that they had entered a mysterious world. In this mysterious world, there were large forests, mountains, rivers, and so on. This was a small world. When a cultivator cultivated to the deity realm, he could gradually start to condense his own small world. But in reality, very few cultivators would condense a small world. There was a reason for this. First, condensing a small world would take a long time, which would delay one's cultivation. Secondly, although some minor worlds could increase a cultivator's combat power after condensing them out, most of the minor worlds that cultivators condensed out could only serve as storage spaces. If that were the case, they would be better off using storage rings to store items. That way, they would not have to waste so much time condensing out a minor world. In addition, even if condensing a small world could increase a cultivator's combat power, the increase in combat power was not as great as imagined. It was not as much as cultivating a few more powerful divine abilities to increase one's combat power. Therefore, very few people condensed their own small worlds. Lin Feng had condensed his own sovereign small world. Later, when Lin Feng had time, he would continue to condense his sovereign small world. The fox spirit and the other 3 assassins were very good at hiding. Lin Feng could not find them. So, Lin Feng directly took out his own small world and put them into his sovereign small world before they left. Lin Feng wanted to kill them in his sovereign small world. Chapter 4569. The fox spirit and the 3 assassins were also experienced and knowledgeable people, so they instantly guessed the current situation. The fox spirit said with a gloomy expression, I didn't expect you to have condensed a small world. Lin Feng walked out of the void. He smiled and nodded, saying, you guys are very lucky because you are the first batch of cultivators to be killed by me in my small world. In fact, my small world is only in its initial stage and can't provide me with a strong combat strength. However, although it can't provide me with a strong combat strength, my perception in this small world has greatly increased. Therefore, in this small world, you guys have nowhere to hide. The fox spirit said, Lin Feng, do you really think that we have no way to deal with you? We assassins like to kill the other party in one blow. We found that there was no way to kill you in one blow, so we left. If it was a life and death battle, we still have the confidence to kill you. But this is not our style of doing things. If you are smart, you should know that letting us go now is the best choice. Lin Feng said, let you guys go? All right, give me the concealment technique you have learned and I will let you go. Lin Feng, you are forcing us. The fox spirit said with an ugly expression. The various powerful methods that these assassin organizations cultivated were absolutely not allowed to be leaked. Therefore, there were restrictions in their minds. If the various powerful methods that they cultivated were leaked, or when their souls were searched, in order to protect those secrets, those restrictions would take the initiative to destroy their souls. Therefore, it was naturally impossible for Lin Feng to ask them to reveal the concealment technique. Let's join hands and kill him. An assassin said, Lin Feng, since you are courting death, then we will fulfill your wish. The fox spirit looked coldly at Lin Feng. She knew that since Lin Feng had asked them to tell him about their concealment techniques, they had to be careful. Lin Feng had already chosen to fight to the death with them. So much nonsense. If you want to fight, then kill. Lin Feng said with a sneer. Dragon form, tiger leap, eagle strike. The 3 assassins shouted coldly. They quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. The first killer turned into a giant dragon. Second place, the killer transformed into a ferocious tiger. The third life killer transformed into an eagle. In fact, what they were using was the combined attack of the 4 beasts. The 4 vicious combined attack technique was a top-notch combination attack passed down from the Blood Prison Assassin dynasty. The complete combination attack should be Dragon Form, Tiger Leap, Eagle Strike, and Leopard Kill. However, previously, Lin Feng had killed an assassin. Therefore, there were only 3 people left on their side. As such, he could only use Dragon Form, Tiger Leap, and Eagle Strike. Naturally, its power would be greatly reduced. Of course, although its power had been greatly reduced, it was still very terrifying. 1,000 phantoms. At this time, the fox spirit also used a powerful divine ability. This fox demon was proficient in auxiliary divine arts. For example, when he used 1,000 illusions, Lin Feng had the impression an endless number of images were appearing in front of his eyes. Some of the scenes were of enemies attacking. Some of the scenes were of beautiful women dancing with charming bodies. Some of the scenes were of evil spirits, fierce beasts, ghosts, and other things pouncing on him. The 1,000 illusions that the fox spirit used was very confusing. It was to make people fall into an illusion and then win the opportunity for the other 3 assassins to get close to Lin Feng. When the other 3 assassins arrived, they could use a sure kill blow. At that time, Lin Feng would only have a dead end. But obviously, these people still underestimated Lin Feng's means. Facing their attack, Lin Feng directly condensed a ball of flame with the 6 heavenly fires. Then, he released the ball of flame. Boom! Accompanied by the sound of an incomparably violent explosion. The ball of flame that Lin Feng released exploded instantly. The terrifying energy that could destroy heaven and earth instantly drowned the surroundings. The 1,000 illusions condensed by the fox spirit disappeared instantly. The 3 assassins who were hiding in the illusion also retreated in a panic. Although they had retreated very quickly, they were still blown away by the destructive energy formed when the ball of flame exploded. Wow! 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 The 3 assassins vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were as pale as paper. Their bodies had all suffered different degrees of injuries. However, these people all had top-grade healing pills. They hurriedly took some healing pills and recovered a lot of their injuries. You are much stronger than I thought, but it's still useless. You still can't escape death. As soon as his voice fell, Lin Feng took out the Hui Bao and the Sunshot Divine Arrow. Not good. It's the Hui Bao and the Sunshot Divine Arrow. Everyone be careful. The fox spirit couldn't help but exclaim. The 4 quickly released their defensive magic treasures. At this time, Lin Feng pulled the bow and shot an arrow. Whoosh! The Sunshot Divine Arrow flew out quickly and arrived in front of an assassin in an instant. The defensive magic treasure that this assassin brought out was a shield with a very powerful defense. However, the Sunslaying Divine Arrow instantly pierced through the defensive shield and pierced through the assassin's head. Then, the Sunshot Divine Arrow changed its direction and aimed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng grabbed the Sunshot Divine Arrow and continued to shoot. He locked onto the second assassin. Whoosh! The Sunshot Divine Arrow flew out again. The power of the Sunshot Divine Arrow was simply unimaginable. It instantly pierced through the void. Then, it arrived in front of the second assassin. The second assassin's defensive magic treasure was also pierced through. Puff. Then, the sound of penetration was heard. The second assassin was also killed by the Sunshot Divine Arrow. The Sunshot Divine Arrow then flew back to Lin Feng's hand. Lin Feng now only had 1 Sunshot Divine Arrow. If the rest of the Sunshot Divine Arrows were also in his hands, he could get rid of these guys with just 1 pull of the bow. There was no need to shoot multiple times. Lin Feng pulled the bow and shot another arrow. The Sunshot Divine Arrow flew out for the 3rd time. This time, it locked onto the 3rd assassin. The 3rd assassin's face was ugly. He took the initiative to activate his defensive magic treasure and flew toward the Sunshot Divine Arrow. Meanwhile, he used a concealment technique and hid in the void. He wanted to use this method to block the attack of the Sunshot Divine Arrow. Lin Feng's face revealed a sneer. This guy was too whimsical. He was underestimating the Sunshot Divine Arrow too much. Once locked onto by the Sunshot Divine Arrow, no matter how hard he tried to hide, he would be discovered by the Sunshot Divine Arrow. The Sunshot Divine Arrow locked onto the opponent's aura and would always follow the opponent. It could even change its direction at will. This was the terrifying part of the Sunshot Divine Arrow. The Sunshot Divine Arrow pierced through the third assassin's defensive magic treasure. Then, it flew to the left as fast as lightning. It seemed that the third assassin must be hiding on the left side of his original position. The Sunshot Divine Arrow locked onto his aura, so it changed its original flight path. Puff. Chapter 4570. The three assassins were directly killed by Lin Feng with the sun-shooting divine arrow. Now, only the fox spirit was left. Her face turned pale. The battle prowess that Lin Feng displayed was too terrifying. And, obviously, frontal combat was not the combat style that these assassins were good at. In fact, the assassins in these assassin organizations would often assassinate the strong as the weak, and it was easy to succeed. The reason why they could do this was that these assassins were good at killing and concealment techniques. But now, the killing and concealment techniques lost their effect in front of Lin Feng. Their killing techniques were restrained by Lin Feng's Bing mantra. Their concealment techniques were restrained by Lin Feng's domineering magnetic field. So, Lin Feng was the nemesis of these assassins. There was only one way for these assassins to deal with Lin Feng. If their attack failed, they would immediately escape. Besides this method, there was no other way. But obviously, it was too late to say anything now. I am willing to submit. Young master, please spare my life on account that I am a weak woman and have some beauty. I am willing to serve young master well. At this time, the fox spirit suddenly said in a delicate voice. She was a member of the nine-tailed Arctic fox clan. She was born beautiful and charming. So, at this moment, she was begging Lin Feng for mercy in a delicate and pitiful manner. Lin Feng was moved by compassion. Moreover, Lin Feng was also very curious about this blood prison assassin dynasty. Since this assassin dynasty had their eyes on him, then, in the next period of time, it might not be peaceful. If he could plant some spies in the blood prison assassin dynasty, it would also be good for him. Thinking of this, Lin Feng nodded. He said, "Good. Since you are so sensible, then I will take you as a maid. Now make an oath of loyalty to me." Hearing this, the vixen began to swear, "I, Su Ruyan, am willing to swear on my soul that I am willing to be loyal and devoted to Lin Feng and Lin Gongzi. I will absolutely not dare to be disloyal to Lin Gongzi. If I am disloyal to Lin Gongzi, I will be struck by lightning. My soul will be shattered, and I will die a horrible death." After the vixen made the vow, Lin Feng immediately felt an oath rune forming in his mind. This vixen's every move could not be hidden from Lin Feng. "Your name is Su Ruyan?" Lin Feng asked. "Yes," said the fox spirit. "Not bad, not bad. This name is very nice. The name is very nice. The person is also very beautiful," Lin Feng said with a smile. Lin Feng was in a good mood after taking in such a beautiful maid who could charm the world. Lin Feng asked, "How long have you been in the blood prison assassin dynasty?" Su Ruyan said, "Reporting to young master, this servant has been in the blood prison assassin dynasty since childhood." "Oh. So, your ancestors should be in the upper echelon of the blood prison assassin dynasty, right?" Lin Feng asked. Su Ruyan shook her head and said, "That's not the case. The blood prison assassin dynasty will look for some extremely talented children. After finding them, they will use all kinds of methods to kidnap these children and then train them from childhood. This servant can't remember clearly what happened when I was young. This servant's memory starts from the assassin training camp." Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a slightly surprised expression. It seemed that Su Ruyan had a rather tragic childhood. After all, the training camp established by the assassin dynasty must be extremely cruel. The assassins trained by the assassin dynasty could only be loyal to the dynasty and couldn't betray it. Moreover, the orders issued by the assassin dynasty couldn't be disobeyed. Otherwise, only death would await. No one could escape the control of the assassin dynasty. Of course, Su Ruyan knew that if the blood prison assassin dynasty found out that she had sought refuge with Lin Feng, only death would await her. However, if she didn't seek refuge with Lin Feng, she might be killed by Lin Feng later. Since she was going to die anyway, the sooner she died, the better. How much do you know about the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty? Lin Feng asked. Su Ruyan smiled bitterly and said, Actually, this servant is still not an assassin of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty. Oh? Not an assassin of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty? What do you mean? Lin Feng asked in surprise. Su Ruyan said, This servant is still an apprentice assassin. The 4 people who were killed just now were also apprentice assassins. This time, we came to assassinate young master. This is the assessment mission. If we succeed in killing young master, we will complete the assessment. In this way, we can become real assassins. But young master is omnipotent. We failed. What happened after you failed? What will happen when you go back? Lin Feng asked. Su Ruyan said, After the failure, we will be idle for a period of time. During this time, the people of Assassin Dynasty will investigate why we failed. If we are suspected, we will be cut into pieces. Death by 1,000 cuts was also known as death by 1,000 cuts. It was an extremely cruel punishment. Lin Feng said, So, you don't know much about the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty? Su Ruyan said, Yes, young master. However, the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty is very scary. In the past, even the 7th Heavenly Emperor was killed by the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty. Hearing this, Lin Feng showed an extremely shocked expression. This Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty was really powerful. Even the 7th Heavenly Emperor was killed by them. It was hard to imagine how powerful this Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty was. The depth of such a force's foundation was not something that ordinary people could speculate. Lin Feng said, I want you to infiltrate the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty. Then help me inquire about the power distribution of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty. Su Ruyan had long known that this would be her fate, so she nodded with a pale face and replied, Yes. She sighed in her heart, but she didn't know what would happen if the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty found out that she was a traitor. Perhaps, when the time came, the punishment would be even more painful than being cut into pieces. Thinking of this, Su Ruyan couldn't help but feel a deep sense of fear in her heart. At this time, Su Ruyan heard Lin Feng say, Now that you have recognized me as your master, there is a karmic relationship between you and me. If you go back like this, if the higher-ups investigate, you may not be able to pass. At that time, you will be discovered by them. But you don't have to worry. I will use the Great Fate technique to change all the karmic relationships between you and me. No matter how they investigate you, they won't be able to find anything suspicious. You can stay in the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty without worry. Hearing this, Su Ruyan was overjoyed. She quickly thanked Lin Feng. I control the Tao of Fate. I will change your fate. Those who believe in me will be immortal. Those who believe in me will have eternal life. The great power of fate, come. Chapter 45-71. When Lin Feng's voice faded, the power of fate condensed. The powerful power of fate fell from the sky and poured into Su Ruyan's body. Su Ruyan immediately felt the power of fate flowing in her body like a gurgling stream. The power of fate enveloped her body like warm sunlight. This feeling was far too comfortable. It made Su Ruyan have the urge to moan softly. Fortunately, Su Ruyan resisted this feeling. If she really couldn't help but make a sound, it would be too embarrassing. Lin Feng's expression remained unchanged. He was still wholeheartedly controlling the flow of the power of fate in Su Ruyan's body. Half an hour later, Lin Feng showed a relieved expression. He looked at Su Ruyan's beautiful face and said, Okay, you don't have to worry about the people of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty discovering our relationship. Hearing this, Su Ruyan couldn't help but show a happy expression. Of course, Su Ruyan didn't want to die. She wanted to live a good life. Originally, she thought that returning to the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty as a spy was a dead end. Now, she finally didn't have to worry about this matter. Moreover, Su Ruyan couldn't help but admire Lin Feng because Lin Feng's means were too terrifying. He could even change people's fate. Su Ruyan suddenly thought of Lin Feng's father, who was known as the person favored by fate and controlled the bloodline of fate. As the son of Lin Beitian, Did her master also control the bloodline of fate? Perhaps, becoming her master's maid would be quite a good thing. Immediately, Su Ruyan thought of the words she said to Lin Feng before. Her pretty face couldn't help but blush slightly. Would her master let her sleep with him? Lin Feng didn't know what Su Ruyan was thinking. He continued, "If there is nothing particularly important, you don't have to contact me. But if you find something important after entering the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty, you have to tell me. In addition, when you find out the background of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty, you have to report to me in a timely manner." "Yes, this slave will remember," Su Ruyu hurriedly replied. "You have to take good care of yourself in the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty," Lin Feng said. Su Ruyu was slightly taken aback. She didn't think that Lin Feng would actually care about her. She was just a servant. Su Ruyan had never expected anyone in this world to care about her. When they were in the assassin training camp, these trainee assassins only had suspicion and killing. Where was the slightest bit of humanity? Not to mention caring for each other. After acknowledging Lin Feng as her master, Su Ruyan had never asked for such extravagant things. In Su Ruyan's view, she was merely Lin Feng's tool. A tool. How could he be qualified to receive master's concern? But now, Su Ruyan felt that she was not just a tool. In front of the master, perhaps he was alone. Su Ruyan's charming eyes were filled with tears. Next, tears flowed out of her eyes. Lin Feng said, "Why are you crying?" "I'm most afraid of women crying." Su Ruyan quickly wiped away her tears. At this moment, she was actually looking forward to it in her heart. At this time, Lin Feng said, "Go back and report. Be careful on the road." "Yes," Su Ruyan responded. There was a sense of loss in her heart for no reason. After Lin Feng and Su Ruyan came out of the sovereign small world, Su Ruyan also left with Lin Feng. After leaving the black market, all the illusions disappeared. The streets were bustling with people coming and going. Su Ruyan took a deep look at Lin Feng in the distance. She bit her lips slightly. There was a bit of bitterness in her charming eyes. Then she quickly left. Lin Feng naturally didn't know the emotional fluctuations in Su Ruyan's inner world. Lin Feng planned to return to his residence. At this time, there were many people around the corner of the street in front. He didn't know what had happened. Lin Feng walked over. He squeezed through the crowd and saw a young girl around 13 or 14 years old and a little girl around 5 or 6 years old kneeling on the ground. Then, there was a wooden board in front of them. On the board, there were the words, "Sell yourself to bury your mother." Although the young girl was young, her appearance was very pure and lovely. The little girl was also very cute. However, they were a bit thin, obviously due to malnutrition. Poor Miss Wu. Her father died early, and now her mother died of illness. What a good family it was, but it was destroyed just like that. Some people couldn't help but sigh. "Move aside. All of you move aside." At this time, a loud shout was heard. Then, a group of more than a dozen guards separated the surrounding people. Then, a young master walked in. "It's Yuan Hua. This guy's uncle is the commander of the Sacred Army, and also the vice city lord of Sin City. This guy is a second-generation rich kid. This guy has done all kinds of bad things. Kidnapping women, forcing women into prostitution. What hasn't he done?" Some people whispered. "Yo, this little girl looks pretty good. A 13 or 14-year-old little beauty, so tender that water can be pinched out. This young master likes this kind of little girl. And this little thing, although she is young, her little face is quite pretty. After a few years of raising her, she will become a delicate little beauty. Men, bring this pair of sisters to the residence. Tonight, this young master wants to be the bridegroom." Yuan Hua immediately laughed evilly. Many people cursed this person in their hearts. In Sin City, there was a limerick. Sin City's young master, Yuan Ziyu. Once every 3 days, he will be the bridegroom. If only the heavens had eyes. Send down divine lightning to strike him to death. This Yuan Ziyu referred to Yuan Hua. Although Yuan Hua wasn't a good person, he liked to pretend to be cultured. Thus, he imitated scholars and gave himself a nickname. His name was Yuan Hua, nicknamed Ziyu. Thus, he called himself Yuan Ziyu. Of course, the contents of this limerick were just wishful thinking for many people. The heavens wouldn't really send down divine lightning to strike Yuan Hua to death. Young master, we can go back with you, but please bury our mother. The girl said, if she's dead, so be it. Find someone to throw her into the forest outside and feed her to the wild beasts. Yuan Hua said with a cold smile. His subordinates pounced on the girl and the little girl. Big sister, I'm afraid. The little girl trembled in fear. Tonger, don't be afraid. Big sister will protect you. The girl hugged her little sister. A cultivator had already arrived in front of the two sisters and reached out to grab the girl. Although the girl said she wanted to protect her little sister, she didn't have the ability to do so. She was just comforting her little sister. At this moment, the girl looked at the cultivator reaching for her with a frightened expression. Chapter 4572. The person who grabbed the cultivator's wrist was none other than Lin Feng. What Lin Feng couldn't stand the most was others bullying the old, weak, women, and children. These people in front of him actually bullied a pair of little sisters like this. How could Lin Feng just watch and not do anything? If that was the case, then he wouldn't be Lin Feng. A real man has to do and not do. When a man encounters injustice in this world, he will be furious and blood will splatter in 5 steps. So, when it was time to make a move, Lin Feng had always been fearless. If he really provoked someone he couldn't afford to offend, it didn't matter. Just run. It's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. And obviously, Lin Feng didn't think that he couldn't afford to offend these people in front of him. Look, someone has made a move. A cultivator exclaimed. This kid is too reckless. I'm afraid he doesn't know the other party's identity. Now that he has made a move, he will definitely anger Yuan Hua. At that time, he will definitely not be able to bear the consequences. That's right, Yuan Hua is not a kind person. Now, this kid who came out of nowhere actually dares to interfere in Yuan Hua's affairs. Isn't this courting death? Some cultivators began to discuss, looking at Lin Feng with pity. They knew Yuan Hua's character too well. Knowing how vicious and merciless Yuan Hua was, Lin Feng shouldn't have interfered in this matter. But now, it was extremely difficult to escape. Perhaps if he apologized to Yuan Hua, he might be able to get Yuan Hua's forgiveness. The girl looked at the little brother who had made a move in a daze. Then, her eyes revealed a look of hope. She naturally knew that she had met a good person today. The little girl curled up in the girl's arms and watched everything that was happening outside. For someone of her age, the world of adults was very complicated. Kid, are you looking for a beating? The cultivator whose wrist was grabbed by Lin Feng looked at Lin Feng angrily, his eyes filled with coldness. Slap. However, just as his voice fell, Lin Feng had already let go of his wrist and then moved as fast as lightning. Before the cultivator could react, a slap had already landed on the cultivator's face. The cultivator was directly sent flying by Lin Feng. His face was smashed by Lin Feng. He fell to the ground with a plop. His body twitched a few times, and then he fainted. Heavens, that kid is so powerful. That cultivator is at least above the Emperor realm, but he was sent flying with just a slap. Many people started whispering to each other when they saw Lin Feng's incredible strength. Others felt that Lin Feng would not be able to escape this calamity. Someone even secretly transmitted a message to Lin Feng, telling him to leave quickly and not meddle in other people's business, lest he got himself involved. Of course, the other party had good intentions, but Lin Feng did not leave. Kid, you've got guts. You even dared to touch my people. Are you tired of living? Yuan Hua's expression immediately turned ugly. He looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy expression, and his voice was filled with killing intent. As the saying went, before beating a dog, one had to look at its master. Lin Feng had beaten his people to such a state. In Yuan Hua's opinion, Lin Feng was not giving him any face at all. Yuan Hua immediately wanted to kill Lin Feng. Scram! Lin Feng looked coldly at Yuan Hua. His eyes were cold. When he heard Lin Feng's cold shout, Yuan Hua's expression changed. Yuan Hua's expression immediately became extremely ugly. Lin Feng actually dared to tell him to scram in front of so many people. He did not put him, Yuan Hua, in his eyes at all. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were dumbfounded. They could not believe what they had just heard. Lin Feng actually dared to tell Yuan Hua to scram. In everyone's opinion, Lin Feng's cultivation was not bad, but compared to Yuan Hua's group, he was still far from it. Lin Feng was just an outsider, but Yuan Hua was a local snake. Even a strong dragon could not suppress a local snake. Moreover, everyone did not think that Lin Feng was a strong dragon. Therefore, when Lin Feng told Yuan Hua to scram, everyone knew that the grudge between the two sides had been completely formed. Yuan Hua would definitely not let Lin Feng go. Many people felt that Lin Feng was too impulsive. Youth was sometimes a kind of capital, but young cultivators were often impulsive. Once they were impulsive, they would do things that were unpredictable. For example, what Lin Feng was doing now was unpredictable. Moreover, he had caused a big trouble. Everyone knew that Lin Feng was completely finished this time. Do it. Don't kill him directly. Capture him alive. This young master wants to torture this brat ruthlessly. I want him to kneel in front of me like a dog and beg me to spare his life, Yuan Hua said with a gloomy expression. After hearing Yuan Hua's order, a group of people rushed towards Lin Feng. The cultivators who followed Yuan Hua had a high cultivation. Each of them looked fierce. They looked at Lin Feng with cold and murderous eyes. Just when everyone thought that Lin Feng was definitely finished, a terrifying aura exuded from Lin Feng's body. That aura spread out in all directions, and that terrifying aura suppressed each and every cultivator. Bang, bang, bang. Accompanied by a series of violent collisions, the cultivators who rushed towards Lin Feng felt as if they were struck by lightning. Those cultivators all suffered extremely serious injuries. The sound of bones cracking could be heard from their bodies. They vomited large mouthfuls of blood in midair. They fell to the ground motionlessly. No one knew if they were dead or alive. After seeing this scene, the surroundings instantly became silent. The onlookers looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a young saint emperor. Everyone's face was filled with disbelief. This was too inconceivable. Lin Feng didn't even make a move. He only released a little of his aura. So many experts were sent flying by the impact. Among the experts who were sent flying, there was no lack of Emperor Realm experts. However, they couldn't even withstand Lin Feng's aura. It was simply too inconceivable. It was simply too shocking. Who is he? What is his strength? Doubts appeared in everyone's mind. Everyone was guessing Lin Feng's identity, Lin Feng's strength, and so on. Kneel. Lin Feng looked at Yuan Hua indifferently. When his eyes met Lin Feng's, Yuan Hua was so scared that his whole body trembled. He didn't need Lin Feng to release his aura. He was already scared out of his wits. With a plop, he knelt on the ground. Too domineering, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Now they finally understood why Lin Feng ignored Yuan Hua. It was because Lin Feng was too strong. Moreover, Lin Feng's style of doing things was extremely domineering. However, this kind of domineering made people's blood boil. Chapter 45-73. My uncle is the vice city lord of Sinful City. If you dare to harm me, my uncle won't let you go. Yuan Hua's voice was trembling. He was extremely afraid. He was afraid that Lin Feng would treat him the same way he was treated by others. Being beaten like that was worse than death. Your uncle? A mere vice commander of the Sacred Legion? What is he in my eyes? Lin Feng said sarcastically. He was very arrogant. His words were full of contempt and disdain for Yuan Hua's uncle. He didn't put Yuan Hua's uncle in his eyes at all. After hearing Lin Feng's arrogant words, many people couldn't help but mutter. Lin Feng was too arrogant. However, Lin Feng did have the qualifications to be arrogant. Such a young cultivator with such terrifying strength. This meant that Lin Feng was very likely to have a monstrous force behind him. Even if he didn't have a monstrous force, he should have a rogue cultivator as his master. Otherwise, how could Lin Feng be so overbearing? Yuan Hua originally wanted to use his uncle to scare Lin Feng, but when he saw that Lin Feng wasn't afraid of his uncle, he opened his mouth but didn't know what to say. At this time, Lin Feng said, "Don't you like to harm women? How about this? I won't kill you, but I will make you unable to be a man for the rest of your life." After hearing Lin Feng's words, Yuan Hua's face turned as white as paper. Making him unable to be a man for the rest of his life was worse than killing him. No, 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 please don't do this to me. I was wrong. I will repent and change my ways. I will be a good person. Please don't cripple me. Yuan Hua loudly begged Lin Feng for mercy, but Lin Feng didn't care. He kicked Yuan Hua's crotch. The power of this kick was terrifying. After receiving Lin Feng's powerful kick, Yuan Hua screamed like a pig being slaughtered. His body couldn't help but violently tremble. Yuan Hua's face turned the color of a pig's liver. Lin Feng's kick had been too powerful, and Yuan Hua's cultivation had been crippled. From now on, the world had one more eunuch and one less man. Yuan Hua's body directly fell to the ground and violently twitched. He was foaming at the mouth. He directly fainted. Many people couldn't help but tighten their pants. If a man became a eunuch, then what was the point of living? Lin Feng had crippled Yuan Hua's cultivation, so Lin Feng would rather kill him than cripple Yuan Hua's cultivation. Let's go. Take me to see your mother, Lin Feng said. Thank you, big brother. Thank you. The girl looked gratefully at Lin Feng. This handsome big brother in front of her made her want to cry. The girl stretched out her hand, then looked up at Lin Feng and asked, Big brother, can you hug me? Of course, Lin Feng said with a smile. He held the girl in his arms and then left with her. Everyone looked at Lin Feng in awe. Only a fierce dragon would cross the river. However, everyone knew that Yuan Hua's uncle wouldn't let this matter rest. After all, Yuan Hua's uncle was the deputy city lord of Sin City and held great power. Now, Yuan Hua was crippled. How could Yuan Hua's uncle not be angry? Everyone was quietly waiting for the development of the situation. Lin Feng didn't care about this matter at all, unless a true immortal expert came. Otherwise, any expert who came to Lin Feng's place would be courting death. On the way, Lin Feng talked with the girl and found out that her name was Ichi Sun-er. Her younger sister was called Ichi Tong-er. The surname Ichi was relatively rare. Lin Feng didn't recall meeting anyone with this surname. In the early years, Ichi Sun-er had a happy family, but everything changed later on. This matter could be traced back to 4 years ago. At that time, Ichi Sun-er had just been born, and Ichi Ta-er was only 1 year old. Her father was forcefully recruited by the Sacred Army, but no one knew what he was going to do. Later on, her father died. The members of the Sacred Army symbolically compensated him with 100 ordinary origin crystals. In the Undying Realm, ordinary origin crystals didn't have much value. In the early years, Ichi Sun-er's family had a shop and a courtyard. However, after her father died, the shop was taken away by Ichi Sun-er's uncle and aunt. As a result, the family's life became difficult. Ichi Sun-er's mother was so sad that she contracted an illness. She passed away 3 days ago. Ichi Sun-er took her sister to find her uncle. She hoped that her uncle could bury her mother, but the 2 sisters were chased out. They had no choice but to sell their bodies to bury their mother. Hungry, Tong-er lay on Lin Feng's shoulder. When she saw the steamed buns, she immediately swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Her big round eyes stared at the steamed buns. She hadn't eaten for a few days and was starving. Lin Feng rubbed Tong-er's head. Then he walked to the steamed bun shop and bought a bag of steamed buns. Tong-er took a bite of the steamed bun, and her big eyes suddenly turned into crescents. She was very cute and beautiful. Although she was young, she was very sensible. However, she suffered a pain that she shouldn't have to endure at her age. Ichi Sun held the bag and ate the steamed bun while crying. Lin Feng sighed in his heart. The 2 sisters were really too pitiful. He patted Ichi Sun-er's head and told her to look on the bright side. Things would get better in the future. After Tong-er ate her fill, she lay in Lin Feng's arms and fell asleep. She was really exhausted these past few days. After finding a warm embrace, sleepiness swept over her and she naturally couldn't hold on any longer. Lin Feng followed Ichi Sun-er to her house. The courtyard of Ichi Sun-er's house wasn't very big. However, the location was not bad. It was close to the city center. It seemed that before Ichi Sun-er's father died, her family had been living a good life. However, when Lin Feng and Ichi Sun-er arrived, they saw a group of people coming out. The leader was a man who looked to be in his 50s and a tall and heavy woman. A few other people were carrying a corpse, and they wrapped the corpse in sheets. Mother. Ichi soon saw her mother's corpse being carried out and immediately ran over. The woman put her hands on her waist and said, "You little B***T, you came at the right time. This is our Ichi family's ancestral house. Now that your parents are dead, we have to take back what our ancestors left behind." The woman's expression was cold. Then she waved her hand and said, "Return the corpse to the little B***T. Chapter 4574. Mother, mother, she cried. Ichi soon knelt beside her mother's corpse and wept bitterly. Tong who was sleeping in Lin Feng's arms, woke up when she heard her sisters crying. Seeing her mother's body thrown on the street, the little girl burst into tears. She struggled to get down and ran to her mother's corpse. She knelt beside her mother's corpse and wept with her sister. Many people in the area were alarmed. What a good family, but in the end, they ended up with a broken family. That's right. The parents of these two children are very kind people. Good people don't have good karma. The two little girls' uncles and aunts really aren't good people. Back then, they took over their family's shop. If their family still had a shop back then, they wouldn't have delayed Ichi-Shi's treatment. That way, Ichi-Shi wouldn't have left the two children behind and passed away. That's right. Ichi's illness was caused by dragging things out. Otherwise, she would have recovered long ago. Now, these two people even want to snatch this house away. Moreover, they want to drive the two sisters out. Without a place to stay, I'm afraid they won't have a good ending. That's right. Look at how beautiful they are. Who knows how many people want to harm them? What a torment. So many good families are being destroyed just like that. Some of the neighbors started discussing. A bunch of shameless old people. Why aren't you scramming? Is this a place for you old people to watch a show? The shrew heard some people's discussion and immediately cursed loudly. Her eyes flashed with viciousness. Many people were cursed and scolded. However, the shrew was famous for being tough, so the neighbors who were watching the show didn't dare say anything. The shrew looked at the two sisters who were crying beside their mother's corpse. She cursed loudly, "Little bitch, cry. Cry, cry, cry. If you want to cry, go cry somewhere else. Don't cry in front of my house." Bang. Just as the woman's voice fell, a muffled bang was suddenly heard, and the woman was sent flying with a kick. The person who sent the shrew flying with a kick was none other than Lin Feng. Under normal circumstances, Lin Feng wouldn't make a move on women. However, this B***TCH in front of him was so despicable that if he didn't teach her a lesson, he would feel sorry for the heavens. Lin Feng had already reached the end of his patience. Therefore, he walked up and gave the shrew a kick. With a kick, he sent the shrew flying. After seeing this scene, all the onlookers cheered loudly. If it wasn't for the fact that they didn't dare to offend this shrew, many people would have already rushed up to teach this shrew a lesson. He was kicked away by Lin Feng. This shrew was actually able to get up from the ground. It seemed that his physical fitness was not ordinary. After all, the Undying Realm was a world where everyone cultivated. The fierce woman's cultivation was extraordinary, so it was natural that she was not kicked to death by Lin Feng. "You dare to hit me? Are you tired of living?" The shrew picked herself up and began to curse. Wah! However, just after cursing Lin Feng, the shrew vomited a large mouthful of blood. Lin Feng looked at the shrew indifferently. The next moment, with a plop, the shrew fell to the ground and twitched a few times before becoming motionless. Lin Feng's kick just now was heavy enough. This shrew definitely wouldn't be able to withstand Lin Feng's kick. She was probably kicked to death by Lin Feng. "Kid, who are you? How dare you meddle in other people's business? Cripple this kid for me." Ichi-sun's uncle looked coldly at Lin Feng and ordered. After receiving the order, a few subordinates immediately pounced on Lin Feng like wolves and tigers. Lin Feng waved his hand casually. An invisible force swept towards the cultivators who pounced on him. Bang, bang, bang. A series of dull sounds of impact could be heard as the cultivators were sent flying. Crack, crack. The sound of bones cracking could be heard one after another. The cultivators who pounced on Lin Feng didn't have a good ending. Many of their bones were broken. They fell to the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Following that, their bodies twitched violently before they stopped moving completely. You. Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, looked at Lin Feng in horror. He didn't expect Lin Feng to be so tyrannical. Kneel in front of the corpse and kowtow to apologize. Lin Feng said in an unquestionable tone. Yes, I'll kneel. I'll kneel now. Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, was scared out of his wits when he saw Lin Feng's cold and heartless eyes. How could he dare to disobey Lin Feng's words? With a plop, Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing to Ichi Sun, Er's mother's corpse. Sister-in-law, I was muddle-headed for a moment and was bewitched by that wastrel. That's why I did such a heartless thing. Sister-in-law, please don't hold it against me for the sake of my brother. After complaining tearfully, Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, looked at Ichi Sun, and said in a pleading tone, Sun, help me put in a few good words in front of that young hero. I was blinded by lard in the past. I'll definitely turn over a new leaf in the future. Ichi Sun, only felt disgust towards her uncle. However, Ichi Sun, was kind-hearted. She couldn't bear to see her uncle scared half to death. After all, blood was thicker than water. Big brother, please spare my uncle, Ichi Sun said. Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, looked at Lin Feng with a pitiful look. This kind of person usually flaunted his power. However, when he met a powerful person, he would start to act pitiful and pitiful. Lin Feng had seen too many of such people. If he left, Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, would definitely go from bad to worse. Ichi Sun, was too young and inexperienced. That was why she was deceived by her uncle. However, Lin Feng wouldn't. Forgive him? Sure. Lin Feng walked in front of Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, and patted him gently. This pat. In 3 days, Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, would be paralyzed. He wouldn't be able to speak. When the time came, he wouldn't be able to do anything bad. Lin Feng didn't kill this guy because he was giving face to Ichi Sun. Hand over the title deeds of the 10 shops. Otherwise, I'll slaughter your whole family. Lin Feng sneered. Yes. I'll give them to you. Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, didn't dare to go against Lin Feng's words. He quickly took out 10 title deeds from his storage ring and handed them to Lin Feng. Scram, Lin Feng said coldly. Ichi Sun, Er's uncle, quickly got up. He didn't even check if his wife was alive or dead. He just ran away. Chapter 4575. Lin Feng helped the 2 sisters bury their mother's body in a cemetery. After the 2 sisters paid their respects to their deceased mother, Lin Feng followed them back home. Tong fell into a deep sleep. There were still traces of tears at the corners of her eyes. Her mother's death was a huge blow to her. Do you have any plans for the future? Lin Feng asked. Big brother, can you take me in? I can do anything. I'll definitely serve you well. Soon, looked at Lin Feng with a pitiful expression. She wanted to stay by Lin Feng's side. She felt that Lin Feng was a kind-hearted person. Staying by Lin Feng's side would definitely be the best choice for her. If it were anyone else, such a beautiful girl would want to stay by their side. Who would be willing to refuse? However, that was not the case for Lin Feng. He still had many things to take care of, so he did not have the energy to take care of them. Moreover, Lin Feng had obtained the deeds to 10 shops for the 2 sisters. With these shops, the 2 sisters would be able to live very well in the future. Seeing Lin Feng hesitate, Sun cried. Sun suddenly looked like she was about to cry and said, Sun knows that my sister and I will be a burden to big brother. Sun doesn't dare to ask to stay by your side. Seeing Sun cry, Lin Feng's heart softened. After all, the 2 sisters were still young. If he really left them to live on their own in the capital of Sin, there might be some people with ulterior motives who wanted to snatch the deeds to the shops in their hands. He might as well sell the shops and exchange them for immortal stones. Then, he could temporarily send the 2 sisters to the Xia family village. Lin Feng could not help but smile bitterly in his heart. Not long ago, he had saved a pair of beautiful sisters. The pair of beautiful sisters looked at him with adoration and shyness. Clearly, these beautiful sisters had a secret crush on him. Now, Sun Er seemed to be the same. Lin Feng could not help but sigh. If a man was too outstanding, he would sometimes be troubled. After all, there would always be a large group of beautiful girls who liked him. Isn't there a saying that goes well? If a handsome young man saved a beautiful young lady, the beautiful young lady would say that she was willing to devote her life to him to repay the young master for saving her life. If an ugly man saved a beautiful girl, the beautiful girl would say that she was willing to be a cow or a horse in her next life to repay the young master's kindness. Look, they're both saving people, but why is the difference so big? To put it bluntly, the world of cultivators was a world where strength spoke. But most of the time, strength was not the only thing that mattered. This was still a world where looks mattered. How cruel! Lin Feng already had a plan in his heart, so he said, "Since you're willing to follow me, then follow me." Big brother, did you agree? After hearing Lin Feng's words, Sun Er suddenly exclaimed, "Yes." Lin Feng nodded. Sun Er is excited. While Lin Feng is not paying attention, she kisses Lin Feng on the cheek. After the kiss, she was suddenly at a loss. Her face is so red that it could bleed. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng is also slightly stunned. Then he bitterly smiled. This girl is really, Lin Feng does not know what to say. Although Lin Feng likes beautiful girls, Sun Er is indeed very beautiful, but she is too young. Lin Feng obviously does not have any thoughts about Sun Er. Sun Er does not dare to continue staying here. She ran away. Seeing Sun Er running away, Lin Feng can't help but mutter, "Maybe I need to find time to have a good chat with Sun Er." At her age, she should focus on cultivation, not on other aspects. Late at night, Werwell. Lin Feng suddenly heard the sound of crying. He sat up on the bed. His surroundings are very quiet. The sound of crying has disappeared. He got up and walked out of the room. The silver moon outside is like a plate. The stars are dotted in the sky. Lin Feng estimated the time. It should be the middle of the night now. He stood in the courtyard, frowning slightly. What was with the crying just now? Was it a dream? Lin Feng does not feel like a dream, because Lin Feng's willpower is very strong. Lin Feng rarely dreams, unless something special happened. Then he would dream. Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is, if it was a dream, why does Lin Feng not have the slightest impression that it was a dream? After waking up from a dream, anyone would more or less have an impression and know that they were dreaming. However, Lin Feng is not like this. However, the crying just now was so real. Now, the crying has disappeared. It is as if the crying has never appeared. This is really strange. Maybe the problem is in Sun Er's courtyard? Lin Feng can't help but think of a possibility. The courtyard of Yi Sun Er's house is not small. There are a total of 3 courtyards. This is the ancestral house. Could there be something left behind? Lin Feng is currently in the first courtyard. He walked toward the second courtyard. Because it is late at night, the surroundings are very quiet, except for the occasional chirping of insects. The second courtyard used to be where Sun Er's family lived, but Sun Er's parents passed away one after another. Sun Er and Tong Er are no longer willing to live in the second courtyard, so they moved to the first courtyard. The second courtyard is empty. There is nothing here. In the past few years, Sun Er's mother has been sick, so everything that can be sold in the house has been sold. Therefore, although the courtyard is not small, Lin Feng did not find anything after searching for a while. Lin Feng walked toward the third courtyard. The third courtyard is the ancestral hall. In fact, Lin Feng came here during the day. Lin Feng found someone to set up a memorial tablet for Sun Er's mother. Today, Sun Er and Ta placed their mother's memorial tablet in the ancestral hall. During the day, Lin Feng didn't notice anything special about this place. When he came here at night, it is still the same. He did not find anything special. Lin Feng entered the ancestral hall and looked around. There are dozens of memorial tablets, all of which are the ancestors of the Yi family. There was nothing in the ancestral hall. Lin Feng couldn't help but wonder if he was hallucinating. He turned and walked out of the ancestral hall. Sob. Suddenly, the sound of crying came from the ancestral hall behind him. Lin Feng's footsteps immediately stopped. The crying coming from behind is exactly the same as the crying that Lin Feng heard when he was sleeping. Lin Feng is skilled and bold. He does not feel any fear. Even if there are evil ghosts, he is not afraid. If there were really ghosts and evil creatures, it should be those ghosts and evil creatures that were afraid of him. Lin Feng turned and returned to the ancestral hall. However, the crying came from the same place as before. There is nothing special. Chapter 4576. The problem lay in this ancestral hall. However, it wasn't easy to find the source of the problem. Lin Feng continued to search for the source of the crying in the ancestral hall, but he still couldn't find anything. How strange. Lin Feng opened his original strength. He hoped he could use his original strength to see through illusions. He wanted to find the source of the crying. However, when Lin Feng opened his eye of origin, he still couldn't find anything. What is it that's making the crying sound? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He continued to walk in the ancestral hall, thinking about this matter. However, just like before, he still couldn't find any clues. Finally, Lin Feng stopped in front of the main entrance of the ancestral hall. This was where the shrine was placed. In the center of the shrine, there was a statue of a god. On both sides of the shrine, there were many memorial tablets. Why would they place this statue on the shrine? Logically speaking, there's no need at all. They only need to place the ancestors' memorial tablet. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. The shrines and temples were usually places to place statues of gods. For example, Shinko Temple, Taishang Laojun Temple, Dragon King Temple, Mountain God Temple, and so on. On the shrines, there were statues of the corresponding gods. However, the shrines and ancestral halls were different from the shrines and temples. The shrines and ancestral halls were usually used to place memorial tablets because the ancestral hall was a place to worship the ancestors. Therefore, no one would place statues of gods on the shrines and ancestral halls. This was disrespectful to their ancestors. Everyone knew about this. Could it be that Yi Chi Sun Er's ancestors didn't know? Lin Feng didn't think so. Assuming that Yi Chi Sun Er's ancestors knew about this, but they still placed a statue of a god on the shrine in the ancestral hall. This could only mean one thing. The statue of a god placed on the shrine was actually the ancestor of the Yi Chi family. However, Lin Feng was a little puzzled. Why didn't the Yi Chi family place the ancestors' memorial tablet on the shrine? Why did they place a statue of a god? This statue didn't say anything. It seemed to be a statue of a god with an unknown name. Could it be that the Yi Chi family was afraid of something? Therefore, that was why the Yi Chi family didn't dare set up a memorial tablet for their ancestor. However, the Yi Chi family wanted to offer sacrifices to that ancestor. So, he built a statue for that ancestor and placed it on top of the altar to replace that ancestor's memorial tablet. The more Lin Feng thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. Who was this ancestor of the Yi Chi family? Even a memorial tablet could not be built for him? The Yi Chi family is a family passed down from the human clan. Could this expert be a very powerful expert of the human clan? Senior, I also have the bloodline of the human race. I am the heir to the oldest and most powerful bloodline of the human race. Lin Feng looked at the statue and said, if the statue had a spirit, perhaps it would respond to him. However, Lin Feng realized that the statue was ignoring him. Lin Feng did not give up. He tried to use his spiritual will to communicate with the statue. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. They communicated again and again. It all ended in failure. Lin Feng tried over 100 times. Finally, Lin Feng sensed something different. Vaguely, he sensed a special aura. Following that, Lin Feng felt as if there was a force pulling him into another world. He did not know how much time had passed. Lin Feng discovered he had really come to an ancient and vast world. In this world, there was a desolate aura everywhere. In this world, berserk beasts ran rampant. Moreover, the berserk beasts in this world were abnormally huge and ferocious. Many berserk beasts rushed into the villages and tribes, devouring the people and livestock of the villages and tribes. This era is obviously the era of tribes. It seems that this is still the early era. Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. This world was very dangerous. Lin Feng saw too many villages and tribes destroyed by the powerful berserk beasts. Until this day, Lin Feng saw a huge army. That was an army led by a human expert. This army went deep into the jungle and began to besiege all kinds of berserk beasts. Berserk beasts such as Swanee, Chiseltooth, nine-headed snakelet, gale, and snake shio were all famous existences in this world. These berserk beasts were ferocious by nature. No one knew what kind of shocking slaughter they had caused. Now, under the siege of the human army, Swanee, Chiseltooth, nine-headed snakelet, gale, snake shio, and other berserk beasts were killed one after another. Woo woo woo, the horn of war sounded. In the depths of the jungle lived an ancient race. These races could control berserk beasts. Swanee, Chiseltooth, nine-headed snakelet, gale, snake shio, and other berserk beasts were all reared by these ancient races in the depths of the jungle. They treated humans as food. Now, the humans had launched a counterattack. Therefore, the core forces of both sides finally began the final battle. The leader of the humans was called Yao. This was a young but wise leader of the human race. This human leader was very extraordinary. For example, he built rivers and cultivated farmland in the human territory. For example, he divided the year into 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Yao led the human army to fight against the ancient race and berserk beast army in the depths of the jungle. This was a war for the survival of the races. This war was extremely tragic. However, under the leadership of Yao, the humans defeated the ancient race and berserk beast army. The ancient race and berserk beast army suffered heavy losses. In the end, they had no choice but to submit. Of course, the humans also suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, the humans won. The ancient race and the human race signed an agreement. The ancient race would forever live in the depths of the jungle and would never come out to harm the human world again. Since then, the human race had obtained peace for a long time. This period of time was also one of the fastest periods of human development in history. During this period of time, the human race belonged to the innate human race. For example, the celestial race, immortal race, saint race, deity race, and other innate human races were united. These innate humans all called Yao Emperor Yao. After seeing this, Lin Feng was extremely shocked. Emperor Yao. This was the ancient saint emperor of the human race. He was the ancient saint emperor before Emperor Shun. He was one of the 5 emperors of the human race. There were also records of Emperor Yao in the Classic of Mountains and Seas. Chapter of the Classic of Mountains and Seas. During Yao's time, he led an army to kill Swanee, Chiseltooth, nine-headed snakelet, gale, snake shio, and other berserk beasts. Later, he fought against the ancient race of the jungle and won. The people were very grateful to Yao and supported him as the son of heaven. Chapter 4577. Emperor Yao. This expert. It's actually Emperor Yao. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. Emperor Yao was one of the 5 emperors, one of the oldest holy emperors of the human race. His strength was unimaginable. Of course, in that era, there were still some experts of the human race who could compete with the holy emperor. They could even surpass the holy emperor. But those people were not the holy emperor. This was because any holy emperor of the human race had made an indelible contribution to the human race. They were respected by the human race as the holy emperor and not self-proclaimed as the holy emperor. The human race did not agree to self-proclaimed as the holy emperor. It would simply be a joke. Even if their strength reached the level of the holy emperor of the human race, or even surpassed the level of the holy emperor of the human race. But if they did not make a great contribution to the human race, they still could not become the holy emperor. Ichi was Emperor Yao's surname. This was the first time Lin Feng had heard of Emperor Yao's surname. In that case, Ichi Sun and Ichi Tong were both descendants of Emperor Yao? This made Lin Feng extremely surprised. But now it seemed that Emperor Yao's lineage, it had also completely declined. Unless someone could awaken the ancestral blood, perhaps there was still hope to restore the glory of the ancestors. or else Emperor Yao's lineage would be completely annihilated in a few years. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt that his divine consciousness seemed to be about to leave this world. The next moment, after a moment of dizziness, Lin Feng's divine consciousness returned to his body. He found that he was still standing in the ancestral hall, and in front of him was the shrine in the ancestral hall. Lin Feng looked at the statue of Emperor Yao. Kacha kacha. At this moment, the statue of Emperor Yao began to crack. Not long after, the statue of Emperor Yao completely cracked. Then, something rolled down from the cracked statue. Lin Feng looked at the thing that rolled down from the statue of Emperor Yao. His face suddenly revealed a surprised expression. The thing that rolled down from the statue of Emperor Yao was actually a small puppet, a human-shaped puppet. It was surrounded by divine power. This human-shaped puppet was a woman. The sobbing sound from before was the sobbing sound of a woman. Could it be that the sobbing sound from before came from this little puppet? This little puppet was sealed inside Emperor Yao's statue. It was carved into the shape of a woman. Who was this woman? What is his relationship with Emperor Yao? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel extremely puzzled. Obviously, this was all a mystery. Lin Feng carefully looked at the little puppet. He couldn't help but wonder if this little puppet was made by Emperor Yao. The more Lin Feng thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. Lin Feng tried to use his divine will to invade the little puppet and examine it carefully. He wanted to see if he could find the secret of the little puppet. However, Lin Feng discovered that there was an invisible force blocking his divine will. His divine will couldn't detect the secret of the little puppet at all. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little depressed. He had no choice but to temporarily store the little puppet in time and space. Although he couldn't find the secret of the little puppet yet, Lin Feng felt that he might be able to in the future. Moreover, Lin Feng had an extremely strong intuition that the little puppet's secret was absolutely shocking. When the time came, perhaps even he himself would be shocked by the secret hidden by the human-shaped puppet. Lin Feng cleaned up the cracked statue of Emperor Yao. He felt a little emotional. These experts who had made great contributions to the era were labeled as sinners' blood. Even their descendants didn't dare to worship them openly. They didn't even dare to set up memorial tablets for them. It had to be said that this was very sad. It also made one feel a little sad. The next day, at noon, a large number of cultivators from the Sacred Legion headed towards Ichi Sun, Er's ancestral home. What happened? Why did the Sacred Legion mobilize so many people? Many people had puzzled expressions. They didn't know what was going on. Someone said, "I heard that Yuan Hua was crippled by someone. He's Lu Hong's nephew. The Sacred Legion must have mobilized to avenge him." Someone actually dared to cripple Yuan Hua? How satisfying. But who is the person who crippled Yuan Hua? Next, a cultivator asked doubtfully. In the capital of Sin, there were very few people who dared to offend Yuan Hua, let alone crippling him. Thus, many people were extremely confused. Just who could have done such a shocking thing? It is said that he is a young human cultivator. Although he is young, his strength is very strong. However, he is only one person after all. Now that the Sacred Legion has been dispatched, I don't know if he will be captured by them. If he falls into their hands, he will be dead for sure. A cultivator who knew the inside story couldn't help but say. Many people's expressions changed slightly. Although they didn't know the person who did it, they didn't have a good impression of the Sacred Legion. They naturally hoped that the person who dealt with Yuan Hua would be able to escape without a hitch. "Come, let's go take a look," a cultivator said. Next, a large number of cultivators followed behind the Sacred Legion and quickly headed towards Ichi Sun, Er's ancestral mansion. The Sacred Legion had mobilized a total of 1,000 cultivators. The vice commander, Lu Longhai, personally led the team. He was an itinerant immortal. An itinerant immortal was considered an expert even in the undying world. Moreover, Lu Longhai was leading 1,000 cultivators from the Sacred Legion. The Sacred Legion's cultivators were well-trained and very powerful. They also knew how to coordinate with various formations. Therefore, an army of 1,000 cultivators, coupled with a loose immortal expert, was an extremely terrifying force. Along the way, more and more people were attracted. Many people were discussing this matter. It didn't take long for the Sacred Legion to arrive outside of Ichi Sun, Er's ancestral mansion. Ichi Sun, and Ichi Tong. Turned pale after seeing the army outside. "Don't worry," Lin Feng said. When the two sisters heard Lin Feng, they nodded. They had absolute confidence in Lin Feng. Lin Feng said they didn't need to worry. They didn't need to worry. Brat inside. "Hurry up and come out to meet your death. Do you want me to personally capture you?" Lu Longhai rode on a flame beast and held a war spear. His voice was cold and emotionless. Lu Longhai's voice was full of contempt. Clearly, he didn't give a damn about Lin Feng. In Lu Longhai's opinion, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to escape today. Chapter 4578. Lin Feng came outside. He saw the 1,000-man army of the Sacred Legion. It had to be said that the 1,000-man army of the Sacred Legion was indeed extraordinary. They were uniform and powerful. The Sacred Legion was one of the most powerful legions under the Heavenly Emperor. Naturally, it was very powerful. However, Lin Feng did not put these people in his eyes, because the current Lin Feng was really too powerful. Look, that kid is coming out. He's really young. So young. Even if his cultivation is powerful, how powerful can he be? I'm afraid this kid won't have a good end today. Yeah, I also think this kid is dead for sure. At such a young age, he had a great future, but now he's going to lose his life. What a pity. This kid is quite chivalrous, but he can't tell the situation clearly. In one's life, there will be many things that require the help of others. But many times, we can't help because the other party may be someone we can't afford to offend. If we help others, we may end up getting ourselves killed. This kind of thing is too common in the world of cultivators. This kid is still too young. He has too little experience in dealing with people. Now, everything is irreversible. It would be good if he ran away earlier, but he didn't. Yeah, I don't know what this kid is thinking. Many people could not help but talk about it. Obviously, everyone was not optimistic about Lin Feng, thinking that Lin Feng might die without a burial place. It was no wonder that these cultivators thought so. After all, Lin Feng was only one person. Although his strength was not bad, he was too young. Even if such a young cultivator's strength was not bad, how strong could his cultivation be? Could he be strong enough to fight against the Sacred Legion alone? Naturally, no one thought that Lin Feng could really have such fighting strength. Therefore, in many people's view, if no miracle happened today, then Lin Feng would die without a doubt. "Kid, you're quite obedient. Are you scared out of your wits?" Seeing Lin Feng come out of the house, Lu Longhai suddenly said sarcastically. Lin Feng said, "I want to see whose dog is barking outside the yard in the morning." After hearing Lin Feng's words, the originally noisy surroundings instantly became silent. Everyone's face revealed an expression of disbelief. Everyone thought that they had misheard. Lin Feng actually dared to call Lu Longhai a dog? Many people couldn't help but smile bitterly because Lin Feng was really too arrogant. At this time, Lin Feng was still so arrogant. Everyone wanted to pry open Lin Feng's head to see what Lin Feng was thinking. "Brat, what did you say?" Lu Longhai looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. He couldn't believe what he had heard. He thought he had misheard. Lin Feng said, "It's normal for dogs to not understand human language." Hearing Lin Feng's sarcasm towards Lu Longhai, many people couldn't help but laugh. Lin Feng's words were really too infuriating. The Sacred Legion had indiscriminately slaughtered the innocent in the Sin domain. Everyone was happy to see the Sacred Legion suffer. The corner of Lu Longhai's mouth twitched violently. He was now completely sure that Lin Feng was scolding him. This made Lu Longhai's anger soar. In Lu Longhai's opinion, he had led the army to surround Lin Feng. Lin Feng should be trembling in fear. He should be kneeling and begging for mercy. But the reality was completely different from what he had imagined. Not only did Lin Feng not tremble in fear and beg for mercy, but he also humiliated him in all kinds of ways. A man lived for a breath, and a Buddha fought for an incense stick. The stronger the cultivator, the more they valued face. The higher the status, the more they valued face. No matter what, Lu Longhai was a loose immortal powerhouse and the vice commander of the Sacred Legion. Being humiliated by Lin Feng like this Lu Longhai was naturally incomparably angry. He simply wished that he could cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces right now. Catch this kid for me. This vice commander wants to execute this kid. Lu Longhai roared angrily. His eyes flickered with dense killing intent. He was now looking forward to the scene of Lin Feng being cut into 1,000 pieces. At that time, he was looking forward to seeing Lin Feng kneeling in front of him like a dog and begging for mercy. After Lu Longhai gave the order, a small group of Sacred Legion cultivators all rushed towards Lin Feng. There were a total of 10 people, each with a deep aura and a powerful cultivation. The Sacred Legion cultivators have made their move. That kid is finished. Some cultivators exclaimed. Many people shook their heads and couldn't help but feel pity for Lin Feng. Die, strip, take. Lin Feng's cold voice suddenly sounded. His eye of death slightly blinked. Then, the invisible power of death quickly rushed towards the 10 Sacred Legion cultivators, and the power of death instantly wrapped around their bodies. Then, the 10 cultivators of the Sacred Legion cried out in horror because they found that their lifespan was rapidly slipping away. Their bodies were aging at a speed visible to the naked eye. This scene was really too terrifying. Heavens, what the hell is going on? Does that kid know demonic arts? What method did he use? The onlooking cultivators couldn't help but exclaim. Everyone's heart was filled with deep shock. Everybody was astonished by Lin Feng's lack of strength. In a few breaths of time, the 10 Sacred Legion cultivators instantly turned into 10 piles of bones and scattered on the ground. Dead. They're all dead. That kid is really too terrifying. I can't imagine how tyrannical he is. The cultivators exclaimed in shock. Originally, everyone thought that Lin Feng was dead without a doubt, but after seeing Lin Feng's amazing method, they changed their minds. They couldn't help but change their minds. They finally understood why Lin Feng didn't leave Sin City. They finally understood why Lin Feng was so arrogant in the face of a colossus like the Sacred Legion. It was because Lin Feng was really too powerful. Damn it! Seeing the 10 Sacred Legion cultivators killed, Lu Longhai couldn't help but curse. Lin Feng's method also shocked him, but in Lu Longhai's view, they had the advantage in numbers. Although Lin Feng's method was powerful, he alone couldn't contend against so many experts of the Sacred Legion. Lu Longhai originally wanted to capture Lin Feng and then ruthlessly torture Lin Feng. But after seeing how strange and terrifying Lin Feng's method was, he decided to directly kill Lin Feng. Kill him together, Lu Longhai coldly ordered. Yes. The cultivators of the Sacred Legion shouted in unison. Their essence energy fused together to form a dragon above them. This dragon was formed from the essence energy of the Sacred Legion cultivators. Its draconic aura was vast and suffocating. Countless people stared at the dragon with an aghast expression. Chapter 4579. The Essence Chi Dragon was formed in the same way as the Essence Chi Smoke Signal. After the Essence Chi Smoke Signal was formed, a behemoth would appear in the Essence Chi Smoke Signal. The behemoth that appeared in the Essence Chi Smoke Signal was a giant wolf. This was the origin of the Essence Chi Smoke Signal, and the Essence Chi Dragon was obviously more powerful than the Essence Chi Smoke Signal. It was even more difficult to form the Essence Chi Dragon, but the cultivators of the Sacred Army had actually formed it. This was because their Essence Chi was perfectly fused together. Moreover, their Essence Chi was incomparably powerful, which was why they formed the Essence Chi Dragon. Heavens, even the Essence Chi Dragon has been formed. The Sacred Army's cultivator army really lives up to their reputation. Now that the Essence Chi Dragon has been formed, it means that their Essence Chi and Spirit have been connected. Their strength has also been connected, and their battle strength has reached an unimaginable level. After seeing the Essence Chi Dragon formed above the Sacred Army's cultivator army, a cultivator suddenly exclaimed, his face showing deep shock. It was no wonder that cultivator was so shocked. Anyone who saw the situation in front of them would feel incomparably shocked. Moreover, after the Essence Chi Dragon was formed, theoretically speaking, the strength of the Sacred Army's cultivator army would also be connected. It was very easy for everyone to increase their battle strength by several times. Of course, the most important thing was not the increase of one person's battle strength, but the increase of two people's battle strength. Instead, after everyone's battle strength increased, they would attack together, and then their attacks would be fused together. At this time, the attack formed would be too powerful. This was the advantage of a team battle. In a team battle, as long as the cultivator's aura, strength, and attack were perfectly fused together, the power that erupted would be extremely shocking. Therefore, at this moment, the cultivators who were watching were incomparably shocked. Kill! The Sacred Army's cultivator army shouted in unison, waving their spears at the same time. Then, they swept towards Linfeng. A terrifying aura surged out, and the spears in their hands all swept out a terrifying spear light. Their spear light swept out and fused together. After the spear light fused together, the power of the spear light was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. After feeling the power of the fused spear light, many people's soul couldn't help but tremble. It was as if he was facing an attack from an immortal titled god. It's too scary. Is that kid going to be killed? Some cultivators couldn't help but exclaim. The battle prowess Linfeng displayed before was extremely heaven-defying. It also deeply shocked many people. Therefore, everyone knew that Linfeng was an extremely terrifying existence. However, at this very moment, the attacks of the Sacred Legion were simply too powerful. Therefore, many cultivators felt that Linfeng might not be able to withstand the attacks of the Sacred Legion. As the saying goes, when there are enough ants, they can even bite an elephant to death. Not to mention that this was an attack launched by a well-trained and powerful cultivator army. The attack of the Sacred Legion is indeed powerful, but I don't think it will be easy to kill that kid, a cultivator said. He felt that Linfeng would not be killed so easily. I think that kid must have some hidden trump cards. He might be able to turn defeat into victory, someone else said. There were also people who felt that Linfeng was an unfathomable person, and that Linfeng still had heaven-defying methods. He might be able to defeat the Sacred Legion in the end. The number of people who agreed with this cultivator was relatively small. Among all the people, about 1 or 2% agreed with this cultivator's point of view. About 20% of the cultivators felt that Linfeng would not be killed in a short time. This part of the people felt that if Linfeng could find a way to get rid of the Sacred Legion and immediately escape, he might be able to escape with his life. Otherwise, he would still be on the road to death. More than 70% of the cultivators felt that Linfeng would not be able to escape this calamity. This was because the attacks of the Sacred Legion were simply too powerful. They felt that the attacks of the Sacred Legion were not something that a young cultivator could contend against. The peerless spear light condensed from the attacks of the Sacred Legion quickly flew towards Linfeng. In the blink of an eye, it had already arrived in front of Linfeng. It looked like it was about to kill Linfeng, but at this moment, Linfeng flicked his finger. His finger flicked the peerless spear light. Clang! A sonorous sound like metal colliding rang out. Everyone saw that the peerless spear light of the Sacred Legion's cultivator army was actually shattered by Linfeng's light flick. After seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. They felt that their brains could not think. Everyone could not help but have the same thought flashing through their minds. How could this be? How did he do it? However, the next moment, an even more inconceivable thing happened. The spears in the hands of the Sacred Legion's cultivator army were all out of control. All of them were stabbing their companions around them. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of flesh being pierced rang out as the spears directly pierced through the chests of the Sacred Legion's cultivators. How could this be? The cultivators of the Sacred Legion did not even have time to recover from their shock when their chests were pierced through by the spears. Their eyes were filled with horror and unwillingness. Then, one by one, the cultivators of the Sacred Legion fell to the ground, dead. Dead. They were all dead. In an instant, the scene in front of them became purgatory on earth. Everyone's body could not help but tremble. Everyone looked at Linfeng as if they were looking at a demon god. Too scary. It was really too scary. It must be this man. He used some unknown means to control everyone's weapons. Then, in an instant, everyone in the Sacred Legion was killed. This scene was too shocking, so much so that many people still hadn't come back to their senses. Quickly leave. Lu Longhai's pupils shrank. Linfeng was so strong that Lu Longhai couldn't help but be astonished. So, Lu Longhai now had only one thought. That was to escape. Run as far away as you can. He did not even care about the raging flame beast he was sitting on. He directly soared into the sky and fled into the distance. But at this time, Lin Feng appeared in front of him. Lin Feng walked towards Lu Longhai. I bestow upon you death. Lin Feng's voice seemed to come from hell. Everyone saw that Lin Feng stretched out his right hand and lightly tapped between Lu Longhai's eyebrows. A golden light instantly pierced through Lu Longhai's head. Lu Longhai's corpse fell from the sky and fell to the ground. Lu Longhai died with his eyes wide open. Chapter 4580. Around them, absolute silence. No one dared to speak, and no one could say anything. At that moment, everybody looked at Lin Feng and felt like prostrating themselves in front of him. Lin Feng was truly too powerful. Too powerful. So powerful that they could not help but feel despair. Was he really just a young cultivator who had lived for over 100 years? Was he really just a human cultivator whose bloodline had long since declined? How on earth did he cultivate? Why was he so powerful? Could it be that he was the reincarnation of an ancient sacred emperor? Countless thoughts flashed through many people's minds. It was not until Lin Feng turned around and returned to his residence that they came back to their senses. They still did not disperse, because this was only the beginning. The Sacred Legion would definitely not let this matter rest. Lin Feng did not choose to leave either. Did Lin Feng want to contend against the entire Sacred Legion by himself? At this thought, many people could not help but reveal a deeply shocked expression. If that was the case, then the following scene would be too exciting. A single person challenging the Sacred Legion. Although they had not seen such a scene, just the thought of it made many people's blood boil. The news of Lu Longhai leading 1,000 cultivators from the Sacred Legion besieging Lin Feng, only to be killed by Lin Feng, quickly spread throughout Sin City. This matter caused a huge uproar. I heard that the one who attacked was a young human cultivator. What? A young human cultivator? Is that true? When did such a heaven-defying existence appear in the human race? Damn it, are you looking down on us humans? Although our race has declined, it was definitely glorious in the past. Many powerful bloodlines can still be awakened. Who knows? Maybe this little brother from the human race has awakened his ancestral bloodline. Even if he has awakened his bloodline, so what if he killed Lu Longhai and the others? Lu Longhai is only a loose immortal. He can't be considered a top expert. The Sacred Legion's top experts and elites have yet to move out. Do you think that kid can contend against the entire Sacred Legion? That's not necessarily true. Who knows? He might be able to contend against the entire Legion. Brother, stop daydreaming. You yourself know that you're only deceiving yourself. I reckon that when you say those words, you'll also have doubts. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Let's go and take a look as well. We'll also take a look at who that young human cultivator is. He's actually so extraordinary. Cultivators from all over the city were discussing this matter. Many cultivators were heading toward Ichi Sun, Er's ancestral home. On the houses, in the sky, on the streets, there were cultivators everywhere. A high number of cultivators gathered there, all of them waiting for the upcoming battle. Many people looked towards Ichi Sun, Er's ancestral home. When they saw Lin Feng, many people couldn't help but be deeply shocked. Because Lin Feng was really too young. Was he really as powerful as the rumors said? Why did it sound so unbelievable? Everyone was still quietly observing the situation. Inside the house, Ichi Sun looked worried. She said, "Big brother, the Sacred Legion is very scary and powerful. I heard that it's one of the most powerful legions in the Undying Realm. Why don't we quickly leave the city before the Sacred Legion arrives?" Of course, Lin Feng wouldn't leave. This time, he had his own goal to deal with the Sacred Legion. Lin Feng had his own goal. Previously, Lin Feng had been searching for the descendants of the sinner's blood, but to no avail. It seemed that the descendants of the sinner's blood were very well hidden. Therefore, it wouldn't be easy to find the descendants of the sinner's blood. Since he couldn't find the descendants of the sinner's blood, then he would tell the descendants of the sinner's blood that a child of destiny worthy of their loyalty had appeared. The sinner's blood would restore the glory of the past. No one could slander our ancestors, and no one could define us as the descendants of the sinner's blood. We are the most powerful bloodline. Our ancestors had made indelible contributions to this era. Who could define us as the descendants of the sinner's blood? Now, it was time to unite and resist. Lin Feng wanted to convey such a message to the descendants of the sinner's blood. Lin Feng wanted to unite the descendants of the sinner's blood and establish his own force. Did the nobles have the guts? Which man didn't want to hold great power? Lin Feng naturally wanted to do so too. Even though the current situation seemed to be extremely unfavorable for Lin Feng, and many forces under the heavenly court were eyeing him covetously. But so what? Lin Feng wanted to establish his own force under the watchful eyes of everyone, and then contend against the heavenly court. Lin Feng looked at Yi Sun and said, "Don't worry, the Sacred Legion is nothing in front of me." Seeing Lin Feng's calm expression, Yi's worry disappeared. Yi Sun didn't worry anymore. She trusted Lin Feng unconditionally. When she thought about how strong Lin Feng was, she felt like she was in a daze. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know what Yi Sun was thinking at this moment. Roar! A high-pitched dragon's roar came from afar. One after another, giant dragons rushed over, each of them carrying a powerhouse holding a battle spear. The Dragon Knights Legion. This was the Dragon Knights Legion under the Sacred Legion. Over 1,000 giant dragons moving together. Just how shocking was this scene? Each dragon had a wingspan of 300 to 400 meters. Their huge bodies exuded a suffocating dragon's aura. At this moment, countless people looked at the huge army of dragon knights in horror. At this moment, the entire Sin capital became extremely oppressive. The Dragon Knights Legion is here. Hurry up and make way. A cultivator shouted loudly. At this time, everyone came back to their senses. After they came back to their senses, the cultivators floating in the air quickly flew away, or landed directly on some eaves or on the streets. The Dragon Knight Legion had arrived. If they occupied the sky, they would be courting death. Not long after, the Dragon Knights Legion arrived. Thousands of dragons floated in the air. The experts of the Dragon Knights Legion looked coldly at Lin Feng. The cultivator standing on top of the leading dragon was a middle-aged cultivator. He was one of the 5 captains of the Sacred Legion stationed in the Sin capital. He was the vice city lord of the Sin capital, the actual ruler of the Dragon Knights Legion. His name was Zhou Zhengyang. His cultivation base was unfathomable. "You're the one who crippled my nephew, and then killed 1,000 of my Sacred Legion's cultivators?" Zhou Zhengyang looked down at Lin Feng condescendingly, his eyes flashing with murderous intent. Chapter 4581. From Zhou Zhengyang's point of view, Lin Feng would not be able to escape today. Therefore, Lin Feng was no different from a dead man in Zhou Zhengyang's eyes. None of the surrounding cultivators dared to make a sound. They were all silently observing the current situation. No one knew how Lin Feng would deal with the army of Dragon Knights. The army of Dragon Knights led by Zhou Zhengyang was simply too terrifying. Everyone felt a deep sense of despair. "So you're Yuan Hua's uncle. I was wondering why Yuan Hua, this grandson, didn't stay in his own family and followed you everywhere. Now I realize that you look quite similar to Yuan Hua. I heard that Yuan Hua is your sister's son. Don't tell me he's also your son?" Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "Pfft." Many people burst out laughing when they heard Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng was cursing without using any vulgarities. Zhou Zhengyang was so angry that he was trembling all over. He glared at Lin Feng with resentment and said, as expected of a sharp-tongued brat, "But do you think you can compete with me with just that mouth of yours? When I catch you later, I will use a knife to cut off your flesh piece by piece, and then throw your soul into the hellfire. I will let your soul be burned by the hellfire day and night. I will let you live a life worse than death, and you will not be able to reincarnate." "You hate me that much? Did I guess correctly? Yuan Hua is actually your son. If I cripple him, your bloodline will be cut off. Damn, I didn't know that as the commander of the Sacred Army, your taste is so heavy and your mind is so evil. You won't even spare your own sister. You're really a beast." Lin Feng continued to mock. After hearing what that brat said, I also feel that Yuan Hua is too similar to Zhou Zhengyang. Could it be that Yuan Hua isn't Zhou Zhengyang's nephew, but his son? If Yuan Hua is his son, doesn't that mean Zhou Zhengyang and his sister are in cahoots? F***CK. What a loss of morals. Some people seek excitement. What can't they do? On the other hand, some people are completely heartless. They can also do such disgusting things. I think this Zhou Zhengyang is not a good person. I'm not surprised at all that you've done. Zhou Zhengyang is not the only one. None of the members of the Sacred Army are good. Anyone with a conscience would not join the Sacred Army. How many innocent people have the Sacred Army killed over the years? No wonder Yuan Hua is such a bastard. It turns out that he is a bastard himself. It's understandable that he would do all kinds of bad things. He inherited it from Zhou Zhengyang. Countless cultivators began to discuss among themselves. Zhou Zhengyang's spiritual sense was very strong. Naturally, he could hear the discussions of many cultivators. When he heard the discussions, he almost went crazy. But right now, dealing with Lin Feng was the top priority. After killing Lin Feng, he would deal with those who dared to gossip behind his back. Zhou Zhengyang had already decided to go on a killing spree. So, he looked down at the cultivators who were watching the show with an indifferent expression. Then, Zhou Zhengyang waved his hand, and the cultivators of the Dragon Knight Legion behind him understood. Roar! A high-pitched dragon's roar resounded through the clouds. Immediately, a dozen Dragon Knights rode their dragons and charged toward Lin Feng. The Dragon Knights' true strength was that they could become one with their dragons. Their combat strength would greatly increase. When Dragon Knights cooperated with each other, their combat strength would increase even more. Therefore, in a battle between cultivators, strength did not necessarily determine victory. It also depended on various external factors. However, no matter how powerful the Dragon Knights were, Lin Feng did not take them seriously. Whoosh! With a flash of light, the Hoi bow appeared in Lin Feng's hand. Then, Lin Feng drew the bow. There were not many cultivators who used a giant bow as a weapon, but there were definitely a lot of them. Therefore, no one associated the giant bow in Lin Feng's hand with the Hoi bow. After all, many people felt that Lin Baishan's son had most likely fled the Sin Realm after obtaining the Hoi bow. Perhaps they would hide somewhere and disappear for a period of time, only to appear again after the situation calmed down. However, they did not expect that Lin Feng, whose name had spread throughout the Sin Realm not long ago, was the young cultivator who wielded the giant bow and shot the giant dragon. The energy of heaven and earth converged from all directions, and an energy arrow shot forth. After releasing the arrow, Lin Feng did not stop. He continued to draw the bow and shoot. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One energy arrow after another condensed and was shot out by Lin Feng. Each energy arrow contained an extremely terrifying amount of power. However, Lin Feng's control over the energy arrows had reached a relatively high level. Therefore, he was able to successfully suppress the leakage of energy from the energy arrows. As a result, many people were unable to sense the true aura of the energy arrows. Many people thought that they were just ordinary energy arrows. You dare to make a fool of yourself with such petty tricks? The Dragon Knights looked at Lin Feng with contempt. They stood on the backs of the Dragon Knights and waved the spears in their hands. Terrifying spear lights swept out. Those spear lights swept towards the energy arrows shot out by the Hoi bow. These Dragon Knights were the most elite experts of the Sacred Legion. Not only were their teamwork powerful, but their individual strength was also very strong. Their individual combat prowess was also extremely terrifying, not something that ordinary cultivators of the Sacred Legion could compare with. Therefore, their attacks were all very powerful. However, it also depended on whose attacks they were compared to. The energy arrows shot out by Lin Feng's Hoi bow were simply too powerful. When the spear lights swept out by the Dragon Knights swept over the energy arrows, they could not destroy them at all. After shattering the spear lights, the energy arrows continued to shoot towards the Dragon Knights. Not good. The group of Dragon Knights were horrified. They had not expected this at all. They could have easily destroyed the energy arrows shot by Lin Feng. At this time, it was too late to dodge. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of tearing could be heard one after another. Everyone saw that the energy arrows shot by Lin Feng first pierced through the huge heads of the dragons. Then, the energy arrows pierced through the bodies of the dragon knights. The huge bodies of the dragons and dragon knights fell to the ground. Heavens, what am I seeing? Many cultivators could not help but cry out in alarm. Lin Feng shot the dragon knights with arrows. Moreover, he killed more than a dozen dragon knights and dragons in an instant. This scene was too shocking. Many people could not help but feel deeply shocked and shocked. Fifth update, brothers. Old Steamed Bun explodes tomorrow. Looking for recommendation tickets. Chapter 4582. But Lin Feng did not stop his attack. He was still drawing his bow and shooting arrows. This time, Lin Feng's target was the Dragon Knight Legion high in the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Arrows shot towards the Dragon Knight Legion as fast as lightning. Then, everyone saw that the dragons and dragon knights were directly shot to death by Lin Feng's energy arrows. The Dragon Knight Legion became chaotic. Seeing this scene, Zhou Xingyang's face also showed an expression of disbelief. How powerful was the Dragon Knight Legion? This was one of the most elite legions of the Dragon Knights. But now, they had become living targets. Every time he lost a Dragon Knight and a dragon, Zhou Xingyang would feel extremely painful. Zhou Xingyang's status in the Sacred Legion was quite high. The main reason was that he was in charge of the 1,000-man Dragon Knight Legion in front of him. Zhou Xingyang knew that this could not go on. If this continued, the Dragon Knight Legion would be completely wiped out. Charge! Charge! Zhou Xingyang shouted in a deep voice. Kill! The rest of the Dragon Knights roared out one after another. Roar! Then, the roars of the dragons shook the sky. Whether it was these dragons or these Dragon Knights, they were all in a state of rage at this moment. They had an absolute advantage in numbers, but Lin Feng had actually started a massacre here. These Dragon Knights and dragons were naturally extremely angry. One by one, the Dragon Knights merged perfectly with the dragons they were sitting on, and then those dragons all swooped down towards Lin Feng. This was a shocking scene. The densely packed Dragon Knights rode their dragons to kill Lin Feng. Like a meteor falling from the sky, its speed was unbelievably fast. The Dragon Knight Legion is charging together. This scene is really terrifying. With so many Dragon Knights and dragons, that kid can't kill them all. A cultivator said, Yeah, he won't be killed by the Dragon Knight Legion, will he? Then someone said, Many people felt that Lin Feng might really be killed by the furious Dragon Knight Legion. Lin Feng's individual combat ability was indeed very strong. However, Lin Feng was facing too many opponents. No matter how strong a single person was, they would not be able to withstand the attack of an entire army. Lin Feng didn't know what others were thinking. He just needed to be himself. Lin Feng looked indifferent in the face of the Dragon Knight Legion that swooped down. He continued to draw his bow and shoot. It was different from before. Before, Lin Feng had only shot one energy arrow each time, but now he was shooting 7 energy arrows at the same time. Of course, shooting 7 arrows in unison would also consume a lot of his magic power. But Lin Feng didn't care at all. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Every time Lin Feng drew his bow, he could shoot out 7 energy arrows, and each energy arrow contained unimaginable power. Lin Feng's attack speed was too fast, so fast that it was dazzling. Lin Feng was the first to kill the dragons and dragon knights at the front. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of flesh piercing through flesh came out again. One by one, the dragons and dragon knights were shot to death by Lin Feng. A large number of dragons and dragon knights' corpses continued to fall from the sky. Everyone stared at what was happening in front of them, dumbfounded. No one thought that the attack of the Dragon Knight Legion would be such a scene. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded. Many people's hearts were filled with questions. For example, how did Lin Feng shoot so many energy arrows in a row? One must know that shooting an energy arrow consumes a lot of magic power, but how many energy arrows has Lin Feng shot out? Everyone couldn't remember clearly how strong Lin Feng's magic power was to support Lin Feng to shoot so many energy arrows continuously. Of course, no one answered these questions. Lin Feng was so heaven-defying. The charge of the Dragon Knight Legion was a suicide mission because they couldn't reach Lin Feng at all. While still in midair, they were shot to death by Lin Feng. It didn't take long for most of the dragons and dragon knights to be shot to death by Lin Feng. The corpses of the dragons smashed into houses, and the corpses of the dragons and dragon knights were everywhere. Run! Some dragon knights screamed in horror, not daring to continue fighting with Lin Feng. In the eyes of those dragon knights, Lin Feng was no different from a demon. But Lin Feng had no intention of letting them go at all. Whoosh! A dense barrage of energy arrows shot towards the fleeing dragon knights and dragons. One by one, the dragons and dragon knights were shot to death. In the end, the Dragon Knight Legion was completely wiped out. Shocking. Unbelievable. He could not believe it. All kinds of emotions filled everyone's heart. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the young human cultivator who stood proudly with a huge bow in his hand. Too strong. Really too strong. He was like a god and a demon. Even the top geniuses of the Undying Realm might not be as strong as him. Many people couldn't help but have such a thought in their hearts. You. At this moment, Zhou Zhengyang was completely dumbfounded. The Dragon Knight Legion. The Dragon Knight Legion, composed of thousands of dragon knights and dragons, had always been an invincible existence. Gods were killers, and Buddhas were killers. They had never failed. But today, they were easily killed by Lin Feng. Zhou Zhengyang knew that he had kicked an iron plate today. Moreover, Lin Feng seemed to be targeting the Sacred Legion. Could it be? Did Lin Feng have a grudge against the Sacred Legion? Could he be a descendant of the sinner's blood? Zhou Zhengyang thought of a possibility and couldn't help but gasp. If the descendant of the sinner's blood was so powerful, it was naturally not a good thing for the Sacred Legion. Because the descendant of the sinner's blood has a great relationship with the Sacred Legion and even the Heavenly Court. You can't escape either. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He drew his bow and shot out a series of energy arrows. Zhou Zhengyang's expression changed greatly. He waved his war spear and swept it toward the incoming energy arrows. Clang! Clang! A series of violent collisions were heard. Zhou Zhengyang's combat strength was indeed powerful. He was worthy of being a domain commander of the Sacred Legion. This guy should be an earthly immortal expert. However, even an earth immortal couldn't resist Lin Feng's attack. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He continued to draw his bow and shoot arrows. One after another, arrows were shot toward Zhou Zhengyang and his dragon. Puff, puff, puff. After Zhou Zhengyang blocked a dozen arrows at the front, Zhang Wuji's eyes lit up. The arrows behind him couldn't be blocked anymore. One arrow after another pierced through the dragon he was sitting on and his body. Both the dragon and Zhou Zhengyang's body fell to the ground at a high speed. Chapter 45-83. Boom. Along with the sound of a violent collision, there was a loud sound. The dragon and Zhou Zhengyang's bodies fell to the ground. Around them, absolute silence. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. At this moment, the shock in everyone's hearts could no longer be described with words. One person. He single-handedly challenged the Dragon Knights. Anyone would think that this person who single-handedly challenged the Dragon Knights would die a horrible death. However, that was not the case. He single-handedly challenged the Dragon Knights and wiped out the entire Dragon Knights. It was unbelievable. Rumble. At this moment, a black army flew over from the distance. It was like a heavenly army. At the front was a divine chariot pulled by 9 dragons. Around the divine chariot, there were 4 dragon knights riding giant dragons. The Lord of the Sin City is here. Some cultivators could not help but exclaim. The Lord of the Sin City was the highest leader of the sacred army stationed in the Sin City. This person was called Yin Quan. At the same time, he was also the Lord of the Sin City. The Sin City was the imperial capital where the descendants of the Sin's blood established their country. This place was extremely important to the descendants of the Sin's blood. Therefore, the Sin City was a very sensitive place. For Yin Quan to be able to guard the Sin City, it was obvious that his background was not simple. After Yin Quan learned that Lin Feng had shot down the Dragon Knights, he led the army to attack. However, he did not expect that when he arrived. The Dragon Knights had been completely wiped out. This made Yin Quan's expression extremely ugly. With 100,000 troops, how are we going to fight this battle? It's 100,000 troops. We can wear that kid down. Some cultivators said. Yes, it's not too late to leave now before the 100,000 troops arrive. If we leave later, I'm afraid we won't be able to leave even if we want to. Then, another cultivator said. Someone secretly sent a voice transmission to Lin Feng, telling Lin Feng to leave quickly and not stay any longer. The opponent was an army of 100,000. No matter how strong one person was, could he fight against an army of 100,000? No one would think that Lin Feng could do this. However, Lin Feng did not leave. He flew into the air, holding the Hui Bao in his hand, and looked at the army of 100,000 with an indifferent expression. Thump, thump, thump. At this time, the war drums beat, resounding through the clouds. The army of 100,000 carried boundless killing intent like celestial soldiers and generals. Their powerful auras made people's hair stand on end. Anyone who faced an army of 100,000 would feel their limbs go soft and their mind tremble. Everyone looked at Lin Feng and found that Lin Feng was very calm. Many people found it inconceivable. This time, Lin Feng was not facing an army of 1,000, but an army of 100,000. Why was Lin Feng still so calm? This puzzled everyone. It didn't take long for the army to arrive. The sky was filled with the army of the Sacred Legion. This time, the Sacred Legion arrived under the leadership of Yin Quan. It was to kill Lin Feng. They were really going all out. It's been a long time since my Sacred Legion suffered such heavy losses. And you actually caused my Sacred Legion to suffer such heavy losses. You deserve to die. Yin Quan sat in his chariot, his eyes flashing with dense killing intent. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Wasn't Shen Zhengdao killed some time ago? What are the losses this time compared to Shen Zhengdao's death?" Yin Quan frowned slightly. He was a meticulous person. Many people knew about Shen Zhengdao's death. However, when Lin Feng said this, Yin Quan had a strange feeling. Could this person be? Yin Quan thought of Lin Feng's possible identity and couldn't help but be shocked. Then, he revealed a look of excitement. "So you're the sinner's blood descendant, Lin Baiyin's son, Lin Feng." Yin Quan looked at Lin Feng indifferently. He couldn't be sure of Lin Feng's identity. Everything was just his speculation, so he had been observing the changes in Lin Feng's expression. Yin Quan believed that if a person's deliberately hidden identity was exposed, no matter how shrewd they were, there would be some changes in their expression. Yin Quan wanted to find out Lin Feng's specific identity through these changes. What? He's Lin Feng? Heavens, this can't be real, right? Lin Baiyin's son actually came to Sin City? Countless gasps could be heard. Everyone looked at Lin Feng, wondering if Yin Quan was telling the truth. You can actually guess who I am? Lin Feng looked at Yin Quan in astonishment. However, Lin Feng soon understood. Yin Quan guessing his identity wasn't too outrageous. First of all, top geniuses of the human race's younger generation were extremely rare. Recently, he seemed to be the only one active in the Undying Realm. Secondly, he had always been in the Sin Realm and the extreme north. Although many people guessed that he had left after obtaining the Hui Bao, it was normal for him to stay in the Sin Realm. Finally, the Hui Bao had aroused the suspicion of the other party. There were many powerful giant Bao-type magic treasures, but none of them were as powerful as the Hui Bao. The only Hui Bao had fallen into his hands, and previously, he had killed many people with the Hui Bao. Perhaps many people had already begun to suspect him. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't find it strange that Yin Quan suspected his identity. If not, Lin Feng would find it strange. With so many suspicious points added together, it seemed that he was the only one who fit the target. He really is Lin Feng. He really is Lin Baiyin's son. Heavens, Lin Baiyin's son, a descendant of the sinner's blood. He has appeared in Sin City. Seeing that Lin Feng had confirmed Yin Quan's suspicions, countless people couldn't help but cry out in alarm. Ha 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 ha, I searched high and low for him, only to find him by chance. Yin Quan couldn't help but laugh. Lin Feng sneered. It's too early to be happy. That Shen Zhengdao was just as arrogant as you. In the end, I killed him, and you will follow in his footsteps. Yen Quan's expression was cold. Brat, do you think you can stop an army of 100,000 on your own? Who says I'm him? Lin Feng sneered and began to circulate his sovereign emperor blood. When Lin Feng's sovereign emperor blood began to circulate, above the Sin realm, boundless blood energy surged. A sage emperor was formed. The sage emperor had appeared before, but he had disappeared. Now, when Lin Feng circulated his sovereign emperor blood again, the sage emperor appeared again. The sinner's blood emperor. It's the sinner's blood emperor. It really is him. He really was the one who had caused the sinner's blood emperor to appear. He has the most powerful sinner's blood. When they saw the sinner's blood empress, some of the white-haired old men who had been hiding in the shadows cried out in excitement. They couldn't help but tear up. The sovereign emperor blood had appeared. The sinner's blood descendants would rise once more. The sinner's blood descendants would recreate the glory of their ancestors. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.